There were some issues along the journey. Um, like it was not entirely unreasonable to take a lot of precautions. You guys threw her in a cell, but I think there was a lot of paranoia, and even even with with the expert navigational skills of your crew, the normally 72-hour trip would still take 56 hours. And you decided to leave her in her cell with her muzzle on, with all of her restraints on, and no real effort was put in to think about how you would actually take care of the prisoner for the first day and a half. Most of it was spent worrying about like how are we going to just like protect ourselves from her. And when you've like never actually transported someone like this, it's a fairly reasonable thing. Um, but it came to the attention of your onboard medical droid Zeta 3 when you guys brought him in. At one point, like he hadn't been aware of the situation, but he was definitely aware of it when you brought him in, and due to his programming and his standing orders to uphold the laws of sentience or the rights of sentience by the sector rangers, he made it very clear to you guys that there were some definite violations going on, that he was going to have to report. He, like, nobody ever really went into specific detail about, or I guess questioning about, like, what this might entail in terms of like how serious this might be. You got the feeling it might be pretty serious, but nobody really ascertained if this was like criminal level or anything like that. um and the next like 24 to 48 hours were very, I guess, tense and touch and go. Eventually, things got so bad that it became very apparent that you needed to loosen up on the restrictions a little bit. But it also became fairly apparent that it had gotten so bad that you might have dug yourselves into some hot water. A couple of you by direct involvement, and a couple of you by just the fact that you were there and you allowed things to happen. Um, and so I think there was like by the end leg of the trip, um, there's definitely like a lot of tension and a lot of arguments and a lot of disagreements about how things should be handled. I believe Rayla in Signal very specifically thought the prisoner should be treated very differently, and had been arguing for like a day or two. And Erotic was somewhere in the middle ground, while Bunko and Chen were a little bit hardline in the other direction. And so it was kind of it was definitely sort of a uh, I guess divisive topic. But as you guys began to approach the Belsava system, Chen began to worry more and more about the potential consequences, especially since he knew that he was already sort of on watch by internal affairs. Um, Belsavis does not have HoloNet, but it is, of course, standard procedure for once you guys get in there that if there's any sort of like medical emergency or an alert, for them to your ship to transmit data anyway. Um, it's also standard procedure that since you're heading out there, you're probably carrying message packets aboard your ship. It wasn't really talked about, but like that's how messages are carried to facilities that purposefully do not have access to the Holonet. Um, and you, well, I guess there was some worry that once you got there, even if that wasn't the case, while the prisoner was on the mend, thanks to the treatment of your medical droid, there were probably going to be some questions, and specifically because it seemed like she might have had some like a fairly severe concussion. So Chen decided to call Bunko in private, and uh, I guess have a conversation on the side about um, responsibility for people's actions and how things were necessary and how perhaps the memory of the medical droid should be wiped. Um, there were things that were not necessarily considered, such as the security system that you guys have been making extensive use of aboard the ship. And when Bunko agreed to go to the medical bay, neglected to remember that Signal was supposed to be watching the ship, as agreed on by pretty much everybody at the very beginning of the journey. And things did not go well in the medical bay. Bunko had an incident with Zeta 3, rather physically, was unable to restrain Zeta 3. Zeta 3 very, very confused as to what was happening, tried to resist. Still not sure what was happening until in the middle of the assault. It was not able to get to a comm link to signal for help, but it was eventually shut down by Agent B. However, Signal saw all of this happening, and seeing a fellow droid being shut down and recognizing and seeing a fairly brutal, in his mind, assault on what would be another being of his kind, immediately signaled Roddick. And this is going to come up later. That this was a fairly traumatic event for Signal to see.
At this point, I want to make a point that in character, nobody really knows that I'm kind of behind this
Yeah,
yet,
that's very true.
so I shouldn't be getting treated differently.
Yeah, you pulled Bunko aside in one of the speeders in the hangar bay. So the most anybody could have seen was Signal seeing you go into a speeder with Bunko, and that would have been it. And maybe there could be some very salacious salacious uh, assumptions from that, but that's probably the worst.
Well, I did make the claim that he was or she was helping me inspect the security of the containment cell in the speeder in case we needed to use it.
Yeah, that's if you have audio. Um, so so at that point, Roddick, not understanding what was going on, but knowing that at some point during the trip, Chen had threatened Zeta 3 with a memory wipe. Like, there had been some talk of it, although it wasn't really forethought in his mind. Charged in full tactical gear, threw a flashbang, and charged in after it. Blinded Agent B and drop kicked her to the floor and proceeded with a full tactical takedown. Signal left his post and made his way to assist his beleaguered fellow droid, who was not memory wiped. Reactivated him as Rayla was awoken, and eventually, although you were locked down in the cargo bay, Rayla went upstairs and unlocked the doors to let you up the elevator and up to the med bay. And the entire crew was in med bay for several minutes, figuring out what the hell was this flashbang explosion, what the hell was going on, why Agent B was attempting to mind wipe the droid. There were some speculations that the droid was some sort of like imposter or assassin. on the part of Agent B. The astromech droid Signal was able to look at him and determine that he was not a normal medical droid, but it looked like he was maybe rigged for like combat medicine or something like that. He was a brand new model, not a whole lot was known about him, but it didn't necessarily mean anything nefarious, and so Signal kind of went to bat for him. And in the middle of this very hasty, kind of nasty situation, Rayla was sent downstairs, down to a D deck to keep an eye on the prisoner while everything was sorted out. Roddick hadn't really trusted Agent B. Knew that there might have been something with Chen going on, so it's a really tense situation up on C deck. And Rayla made her way down to D deck, and that's where we're going to begin. I'm noticing that that we are missing someone. Victor, are you having issues getting back onto Roll20?
He's not here. He's getting food.
He's getting food.
Where is that? I don't see that anywhere.
In chat, he said in 10 minutes to crashing into the other room, like 30 seconds to get food.
That
was a while ago. He said
okay.
that right when he connected.
Okay.
He's on TeamSpeak.
He was
Okay.
remote though, so I don't know if he's on a phone or something right now.
All right, so slight, I guess, disclaimer for everybody. I'm going to be having the music slightly louder than normal because some people have been complaining it's a little bit too soft, and you can always turn the volume down if it's too loud, but you can't turn it up past max if it's too soft. So just bear that in mind. Volume slider is over on the settings bar if you need to turn things down. So Rayla, you stand. I'm going to move us over to the ship map. Yes, you've just walked into the detention cell room. And like the doors zipped open. And you stepped inside, and there's a moment where your jaw just drops because the force field is still active. You know, it's like a red force field. There's like kind of like horizontal lines kind of zipping across it a little bit like an older 90s TV. And you don't see anyone inside. Do you have an immediate action? And I mean immediate.
I probably would reach for my comm link to try to contact the others, I would imagine. I doubt
Okay.
I get a chance to use it if there's immediate action, but that's what I would do.
Okay, so you reach down for your comm link, and your hand rests upon another hand, which is literally on top of your comm link. Can we roll initiative, please? You're going to have a negative for this because this is technically a surprise round, but I am going to still let you roll.
I'm sure she's gonna win. My initiative is not good.
Okay.
Oh, that's not bad.
Oh yeah, that was without a modifier. Okay, so she rips, or I guess there is a hand that rips the comlink from your belt, and you feel a booted foot against your butt, shove you up against the force field that gives you a firm kick. You fly against the force field, and you hear like footsteps, and then you hear the door closing behind you. Yeah, like you just fly against the force field. There's like this painful, really awful singeing sensation as you smack against it. These are not just like you can press yourself against them and not feel anything sort of force fields. Like you reel back like a bug hitting a bug light or something. You zap back just in time to see the door like shutting closed, and you see the figure, the gaunt figure of the Twi'lek prisoner, Vina, on the other side, holding your comlink, giving you like a kind of a sorry look as the door shuts, and there's a
Is there like a ship comm in the cell?
no.
No.
Yeah, you wouldn't have.
In the cell?
No, you're not. You're right up against the
I
cell.
would-
You're literally where you are on the page.
So you're in the hallway for the cells.
Yeah, like there is a separate room where the detention cells are kept, which is basically secured from the rest of the ship. And like the detention cells have Durasteel walls in between each other, and then each of the cells have force field activations that they have doors. But the detention cells themselves have have just the one locking door. Like you would expect it to be secure like this, and yeah, there is no I guess like you turn around and you do see like a panel next to the door. But it's not exactly intact is what I'm trying to get at.
So, if I rush over to it, I figured I'm locked in the room.
Yeah, like that this is the combination open the door / intercom panel, and it has been ripped off of the wall and utterly like mangled.
Okay. It's gonna be weird, probably, because I've never shown it before. But you do have one recourse.
Mm-hmm.
I have telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see, what's the limitations on that?
What page is this in the book? And we'll find out.
I have it here. I'm looking at the combat summary. Telepathy. It says 77. I don't know if that's the actual book page it's on, but
Use the Force telepathy. As a standard action, you can establish a telepathic link with a distant creature. Through the link, you can exchange emotions or a single thought such as go, help, or danger. The target must have an intelligence of 2 or higher, and the distance between you and the target determines the DC. Against an unwilling target, you must make a use the Force check against the target's will defense. If the check fails, you cannot establish a telepathic link or attempt to telepathically contact the target for 24 hours unless the target becomes a willing one. There's a special note. You cannot make use of the Force checks unless you have use of Force sensitivity, blah, blah, blah. There is an errata. Under the telepathy application of the skill, change the first part of the last sentence to say against an unwilling target, you must use the Force check against the will defense or base skill DC, whichever is higher. All right, so it looks like you can establish a telepathic link with a distant creature, as long as it is, not unwilling. You don't have to make a check. And distances are literally in the same planet, same system, same region, and different region of the galaxy levels.
right. So we're gonna go with standard action to help, probably to Chen, because ostensibly I think he's the overall leader, per se.
Okay.
And I need to make a DC 15 check. Be too difficult, but I could fail that. Where's
Yeah, I don't know that Chen really knows you well enough to just immediately let you into his mind, so that's probably an acceptable check.
I failed.
You
Wonderful.
failed it.
Oh no.
I
Force
only-
point, question
I
mark?
only rolled a 2.
do you use a force point?
I will. That's
Okay.
possible. It's a D6.
Roll a d6.
Yay.
Okay, you got it. You use the force. You know this is gonna be a very important thing. All right, so Chen begins to feel a tingling sensation against his spine. Chen, let's I guess get back to your situation here. You are up on C deck with Bunko, Signal, Zeta 3, and Roddick. Roddick has just got done explaining how Zeta 3 should not be left in the care of either Bunko or Chen. Should either be left in the care of Roddick, Rayla, or Signal for the duration of the trip. And things do not seem to be going well for you, Chen. This is an utter mess. You have no idea how you're going to salvage this disaster, and yeah. So what is your response in this situation right now? You have not yet been contacted by the Force, just yet.
I haven't. Okay.
I want to let the current scene flesh out a little bit before we interrupt it.
Okay, so Roddick's kind of explained what happened, you said, right?
Yeah.
And that's
yep.
sort of where we left off?
Yep.
And I think Bunko also sort of explained
She tried to
why
fast
she
talk
was,
her
like-
way out of the situation by shifting the blame on like the droid is an assassin or something, but Signal was asked by Roddick to be the expert, and Signal said that the droid is a medical droid.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna say, you really don't have time for this crap. Roddick, I want you to escort B to the mess hall. Signal, I want you to return to the bridge. No, not the bridge. The cockpit, I guess. And continue monitoring the security situation and lock down the medical bay so nobody gets in or out.
I think you're right in the process of saying, like, lock down the medical bay when you feel like this weird sensation in the back of your mind. And what is your most, like, when you think of Rayla, what is like the thing you associate with her the most, like your memory of her that you associate with her the most? Like, you haven't really known her a very long time, so what in our kind of shared experiences of her do you like immediately think of when you think of Rayla?
Probably like the whole like the fight and everything on Vendaxa.
Okay.
Like
Right,
everything
so-
we sort of went through to make that rousing success, as I would call it anyway. But
You just suddenly have it's not an image of Vendaxa, but like the feelings you have associated with your memories of Vendaxa, like it being in that fight, like just surge back super strong for a second. And like it's really strong, like enough to where you have to like put your hand against the wall to steady yourself, and you don't hear a voice so much as like you just your feelings sort of hone in specifically on like your memories of Rayla during that time, and you just get a sense of like distress, and like like her like needing your help. I will say that you have absolutely no idea she is a Force user, and I do have to bring this up because Rayla's been very specific about keeping this fact from everybody. So this you do get this fact, and it's not. I'm not saying like you can't act like some people in real life say, oh, like I get a really bad feeling, I need to go check on this person. But I am saying that you have absolutely no inkling that she is a Force user.
Well, I think with a sort of feeling of distress like that, I think I'd probably I think it's reasonable that I would kind of go for my comlink and ask for a status report from Rayla.
Okay. All right. Let me roll something. So, yeah, like you like I think everybody sees Chen stagger a little bit, just in the middle of the conversation. He puts his hand to the wall and he like immediately pulls out his comlink and it's like Rayla status report, and it takes like 5 or 6 seconds of quiet, and you can see like Chen is definitely like looking at the comlink very nervously for a second. It looks like he's about to bolt out the door when suddenly like a burst of static kind of comes over the control or over the not the controls the comlink, and a very hard to hear voice can be overheard from it. There's like a lot of static, like shh, and there's like a banging in the background. It's almost like you can hear someone talking while they are being like. It sounds like the immediate impression you get is like someone is attempting to talk through a comlink as they are being shoved against a wall, or they are being like the comlink itself is being like tossed against a bulkhead or something like that. It's just like you get the immediate impression of a struggle. You can hear like something like clattering around in the background, and a female Twilight voice who sounds to you like Rayla, says, "She's making her way to the escape pods, and like she's loose."
Do I hear this or just Jace right now? Or just Jen?
Everybody in the room hears this.
I'm going to immediately start screaming for signal to shut down the escape pods, and I am going to tear off.
They're
them.
already shut. They were.
Double check them. I'm going to scream as I.
Well, the doors are
tear my
locked
way out.
down. I'd be surprised if you could actually prevent the escape pods from functioning, because that kind of seems.
So right as this happens, you
Counterintuitive.
hear an alarm sounding, and it just boop, boop, boop. Escape pod 1 launched. Escape pod 1 launched.
Question mark?
Roddick's going to step forward for a second and say, well, actually, quick question about the universe. Can we scan it for life signs? I don't even know if that's possible.
They
Then
did. in
again,
the
that
first
happens
Star
right at the
Wars
beginning.
movie.
Yeah, that happens in the first 5 minutes. Never mind. I'll ask Signal to scan it for life signs. I don't trust her. She's on board.
Signal can't just randomly do that from the med bay.
I can't plug into like a port anywhere.
The thing is, if you can do that, somebody can control your entire ship from anywhere, which
Alright,
is something
alright.
you would argue against and something that they can't do.
I think I'm going to probably turn to Jen.
Like
and,
that's why they have a
Signal.
bridge.
Jen and Signal saying that you guys need to get to the bridge right away. And I'm going to think about it for a minute and wished I had my stun cuffs for Bunko. But then I have another idea.
Escape pods 2 through 3 launched, and you guys feel like a ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk.
Uh-oh. I think I know what this is
How
about.
would she unlock the?
There's
That was
like
one of the
like
doors
just
that was
blaring.
locked.
You're just like blaring alarms.
All right.
You can quit bitching, Foster. I am looking at the map. There are doors that are unlocked, and you are not considering.
There was only one to the escape.
You can stop bitching, or I will
Okay,
start
okay.
deducting XP. I am done with this. What do you guys do?
I'm going to the bridge.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Signal up to the bridge.
Right,
I'm gonna say B. I'm gonna like yell at B and say, B, quit screwing around and help Roddick secure the prisoner.
Before you leave, Jen, I'm gonna ask you for your binders. Or ask you for a binder if you have a binder cuff on you.
Chunk, 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 chunk. Escape pods 5 through 8 have launched.
Are you gonna hand me a
I'm
binder?
gonna say, Roddick. If you don't have time for this shit, get to the escape pods with Agent B.
Erotic's gonna sigh and he's going to take his shotgun off his back just in case and make sure it's ready to go and say, alright, I'm gonna keep an eye on you. And look to Benko and say, you're with me. And then kind of look back to the others and say that if they're ejecting the safe pods, that means she's probably planning on trying to destroy the ship. I don't know, do I see anything in her psych profile that would suggest she's suicidal or if she's planning on keeping the ship afterwards?
There was a lot of speculation in her psych profile as to whether or not she was truly insane, and the question was up in the air.
We need to make sure she doesn't get to engineering. We don't want her to blow the ship, and we don't want her to get to the bridge. We can't let her get of those. Those are our vital spots. Everything else we're gonna have to hunt her through. And I'm just going to motion to B that we're going out of the room now. And I'm gonna start heading out with my my shotgun kind of up at the ready.
All right, so Signal and Chen are making their way off towards the bridge. Roddick, where are you going?
I'm going to press the button to retract the Strock and put it into pistol mode for the moment, given the kind of condition I'm in. And I'm going to, let me see where I'm going actually, rather than just heading out. Okay, let me take a look at the map real quick. Where are the escape pods? I'm trying to find those right now.
Right.
Okay, is there a way, would I know if there's a way to remote fire those from somewhere else, or do they have to be fired from there?
Give me a untrained knowledge technology check.
Give me 1 second, I will do that. Had my sheet open already, but I did not. Oh, here we go.
You have absolutely no idea.
I'm gonna probably holler, Signal, try to figure out where those pods are being fired from. This one's crafty. I think it's a trap. And I'm just going to start making my way down to hopefully right about here, if I can. And start making my way up the hallway very, very slowly, but I want to stop before this intersection because I'm concerned about this intersection in particular and see if I notice anything.
Okay, so you're making your way down the central corridor. Just move yourself. Okay.
Actually, hang on, I thought that like there would be more likely.
Okay, and Bunko, what are you doing?
Pistol is drawn. I'm having him lead the way.
Okay, right.
I'm going to use hand signals to kind of tell him, try to motion to him to stack up on the wall, and then I'm going to try and see, start doing a countdown motion to go at the same time out into the corridor.
Okay, so yeah, you look around. We're gonna cut back down to D deck. Rayla, you're in the detention cells. You've been screaming through the force for help. No response just yet, but you have heard the escape pod warnings, and you have felt the ship shudder as obviously escape pods have launched. You being the pilot of the ship, you know that your ship has 8 escape pods, and ostensibly all of them have launched. What are you doing inside of the detention cell?
I want to try to fix this panel so I can actually open
It seems like a very smart thing to do. This would be a mechanics check. What are you trying to fix it with? Do you have any tools on you?
it. I think I have it. Yeah, I think the toolkit's in the... Shoot, I really should write that down. It's the fanny pack thing. Yeah.
I am going to point out that you were in your 90 until you went and got dressed. Did you literally get all of your equipment?
That I probably didn't. I was wondering about that when the session started, whether I would have or not. And I got dressed, but I'm not sure I actually equipped that.
It sounded like you got dressed and grabbed your blaster and your comlink. It didn't sound like you were like going full excursion mode because you wanted to get out there quickly, right?
Probably.
So what do you think you have on you?
Well, if that's the case, I have So it amounts to my flight suit, which is what whatever uniform they gave me, because I would have worn that as a flight suit. My blaster pistol, and that's probably it.
All right, so you're gonna have a -2 for not having the proper tools to do this with. You can still absolutely attempt it. It's just, you know, it's gonna be hard. You're literally going to be hot wiring the door, which is something they do in Star Wars, so it's entirely possible.
Right?
Actually,
No. Like you the panel's already pulled off, so like you're trying to figure out what wires go where, and you're like twisting some, and you just like you shock yourself, and there's a, and you burn your fingers, and you just like kind of zip back for a moment. You're like, oh god. So yeah, there's like utter chaos going along everywhere. Signal and Chen, you make your way to the lift, and you get inside, and you're going up to the bridge.
Yeah.
All right, you activate the button to take you up to the bridge, and the lift goes nowhere.
I what's to make a mechanics roll to make the lift go where I want it to go.
How do you do that?
By interfacing with the lift control panel.
You're gonna need to maybe diagnose the problem first. So, you believe it's a mechanical problem?
Yes.
So you just are you literally like the thing here is you're in the elevator and it's not going anywhere. Your immediate assumption is to just pop the control panel open, not to diagnose anything.
All right.
Well, it's not an all right. It's just it's going to determine what you are capable of accomplishing. Like if you are attempting to get at the root cause of the problem, it might not be a mechanical cause of the problem, but you are attempting a mechanical fix. Give me your mechanics roll, because that's what you said you're trying to do. Sounds like you're literally just going to try to hotwire the elevator, regardless of what the problem is. Okay, so signal pops up in the panel, and Chen, you're here for this, so you can speak when the elevator does not move. Like, you can certainly ask questions.
I would probably just say, like, I'd probably curse and then just kind of tell Signal to try to get it moving, basically.
Yeah, so Signal pops open the lift, the lift access hatch. All of the hardware looks to be intact. Over the next minute, you're able to interface in with the hardware link up and determine that the lift access has been overridden from like the actual primary control panel. You've literally been like, the lift has been set to lock out the next time it's been used. You are able to override this, but it takes a minute or two, because this was literally a command override via the computer, and it wasn't like a technical problem. And so what you end up doing is the override is still in process. It's you literally disconnect the computer controls from the lift, and you manually trigger the lift up and down by triggering power fluctuations along the lift terminal. So you are not going to be able to control the lift remotely until you fix this. It's whoever, nobody can call the lift right now. Whoever is currently in the lift will be able to control it, but until you get that fixed, that's how it's gonna work. So
I want to can I interject really quick here?
Yeah.
During this whole few minutes,
it's literally maybe a minute and a half at most, given how fast signal works.
Okay, well, I want to kind of like look around. Is there like a like kind of like a maintenance hatch or something on top of the lift to like just manually climb a ladder in the lift or something like that?
Turbo lifts don't exactly work like that. You could. I'm trying to think of my knowledge of Star Wars lifts. You could there. It is very possible that there is a hatch that you could pop. I'm trying to think if there is room in a turbo lift shaft for you to actually have an elevator for a ladder.
It's probably just kind of like magnetic. It's
I
probably just
can't-
like a tube, basically.
Yeah, I
isn't
can't
it?
really say I know what a turbolift shaft looks like.
I know they're not conventional elevators, is the thing. There has to be a hatch. There is absolutely like a full hatch on the other elevator because that's what's used to get out of the ship. So I'm assuming this one has a hatch too. It's just it opens up to the elevator shaft. I'm gonna say there are rungs, but they're not like in the shaft itself. They're like dug out into the shaft. Like you have to reach into the shaft, and they're very small, and they're not real. They're definitely made for like maintenance and not for actual emergency access. You can get out there, but they're definitely not meant for easy use.
Could I get like below the lift pod thing to
Oh,
climb
absolutely not.
down?
No,
Okay.
no, absolutely not.
So it's one way
it's
only.
it's airtight.
Okay.
All right, so the lift starts moving up towards the bridge. Right about this time, we've got Bunko and Roddick looking about the hallway. Give me perception check, Roddick.
Absolutely. Give me 1 second. Somehow I lost my sheets. Have to reopen it again. 1 second. Oh, there it is. Rolling perception.
It's a pretty good perception. Yeah, I mean, like, this is a fairly featureless corridor. You don't see anything wrong. Is there anything specifically you're on the lookout for?
I'm on the lookout for any movement, any sound in particular, anything that sounds like there's anybody.
Well,
moving around
there's
this
like
corner.
there's like kind of a low, muffled warning siren.
Okay, in that case, since I don't see anything, I'm still going to go with the original plan. I'm going to motion my hand signals 3, 2, 1, and then I'm going to I'm hoping Bunko will break the opposite direction, and I'm breaking out left with my shotgun up, seeing if I spot anybody. I'm going to basically break around like this corner here.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you both kind of fan out. You are not met with blaster fire, nor grenades or bombs or anything of that sort.
In that case, if everything looks clear, I'm going to holler over to Bunko, sweep the airlock, sweep weapon control, and I'm going to make my way over towards the airlock and make sure there's no one hiding in it.
Okay. Great. So you make your way towards the airlock, and you check it's still sealed. You poke your head over to the little glass window. You can't see anybody inside. But again, it's like a little glass window up at the top.
We should have
Can
some
I
kind
inter-
of indication that it's decompressed, right? Or is it?
It's sealed, and it's not. There's no reason it would be decompressed.
There's
That's
a secondary
true.
door on the outside.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
It would be pretty bad if there wasn't. Open the door and everybody goes out. Yeah, I think that, I don't trust this whatsoever. I am going to very carefully see if I can open the outer door and clear the airlock before I check the next room.
Okay, so yeah, you tap your hand against it. It slides open. Can you give me a roll against your intelligence?
Absolutely, just a straight hit roll.
Yep. Not a very hard check, but you somehow managed to fail.
Oh my god, that's so terrible.
Yeah, nothing strikes you as off. You look inside. There is nothing wrong with the airlock.
I'm gonna press the button, and try to seal it up again. And I'm
Okay.
going to make my way over, stack up on the corner of weapons control, and open that up next to try to sweep that.
Okay, so Bunko, I assume you're doing roughly the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you open the airlock, interior airlock door. Nothing wrong here. Can you give me an intelligence check? Ooh, that's right on the cusp. Not quite there though. So yeah, so you turn around, Bunko, after clearing the airlock, and you see Roddick moving over to weapons control. He taps a button, and you see him like poke his head in and like clear the room. You don't see anybody inside weapons control, Roddick.
Very well. In that case, I will duck back in, and then if something's going to occur to me, and I'm going to holler over on the comms. Somebody make sure Rayleigh's Starfighter is clear. As I'm going to start making my way to the main escape door or escape pod area doorway.
Okay. All right. So right about this time, Signal and Chen, you both have made it to the bridge.
Oh, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
How do we get to man the turrets? Where is that?
It's not really accounted for well on the map. The way I look at the pictures, the let's see here. The two blaster turrets are probably actually on
This is weapons control here.
I was half wondering if.
yeah, but you don't
maybe
man turrets from weapons control because there are no remote controlled guns in this game. I'm thinking the turret controls are actually somewhere around here. There's probably a door leading off of droid storage to the starboard side dorsal turret, or I guess ventral turret, and there's probably one off of the workshop. And your new ion cannon is probably just forward of the cargo ramp,
Cool. Good to know.
or the cargo containers. It's the only space on the ship that has any empty space for corridors and rooms for turrets.
Once I guess we're ready to breach, I'm going to.
Have I looked inside this place?
Yeah, you tap open deflector control, and you don't see anything inside. I would like perception checks from both Roddick and Bunko at this time.
You got it.
I would also like perception checks from Signal and Chen. Those are all very good perception checks. So Signal and Chen, the lift stops up on the bridge, and the door opens up.
Plug into the computer system and scan the ship.
Which system do you roll up to?
Well, kind of
Sensors, probably.
as soon as we get in there, I want to order Signal to find Rayla, basically.
Already on it.
All right, so Signal. Let me see here.
Ooh, something just occurred to me. I'm not sure if it's gonna possibly work out. I'm going to holler over to Signal before we breach in the door. Don't know if he's going to be able to do this or not, in or out of character, but I'm going to ask him if he can try and see if he can home in on the signal from my stun cuffs, if they might still be on the prisoner. Since they've got to have a remote access with my controller, I'm wondering maybe you can pin the SIP sensors down to look for it, or do you possibly even activate it just with a sweep?
And I wanted to mention that all of the doors that we thought were locked are not locked.
There you go. Somebody managed to come around their failed intelligence check. So let's see here. Okay, that was not a good roll for you. All right, so Signal, you're getting onto the sensors controls. What are you doing?
Can the sensors scan internally or not?
They can. What are you trying to scan for?
Any and all life signs.
Okay. Let's do a quick search here.
You find life.
I want to see if there's anything specifically in the rule book about how accurate this stuff is. Because I know in Stars Without Numbers it was woefully inaccurate, or woefully unexplained.
Yeah, I'll help you out, see if I can find anything in the Searches of the Galaxy about it.
That would be really great. I knew there was something that I forgot to look up. I just did a. Oh, I don't know. Can you search Starships of the Galaxies? I don't think so. Maybe.
It's not.
Damn it. I really want to say you can.
Use computer says use sensors can be used to search a ship for hidden weapons or compartments. It says nothing about people.
Yeah. Like, I know it's implied in several places in the movies and in the books that, like, the Empire does that sort of thing, but it takes time. It's not an instantaneous thing.
Well, when they eject pods, they like instantly say there's no life sign
Yeah,
on
but
board.
that was that was like a life pod that was like the size of a Pinto. Like, there's not a whole lot of space to scan, whereas you have like a 4-deck ship with a bunch of crawl spaces, and you have shields, and you're also traveling through hyperspace, and you have a hyperdrive that's see where I'm getting at. Like, there's like a lot of different complications that I don't know.
Well, to me,
that
the
might
biggest one
affect it.
is really like there's a difference between scanning a ship and telling if there's some sort of life on board versus being able to pinpoint life in a room. I mean, there's definitely a tech difference there, so I'm not sure how it works here.
I don't want to hold up the game, but this is something important. So give me 1 second to do a quick search.
Got so many Spaceball references rattling around in my head right now.
Rayla's fighter gets stolen. That's going to be very unfortunate.
This isn't in the rules, but this is from fluff if this helps you make a decision from just general Star Wars. So that does give Braddock an idea. A very terrible idea.
I did find reference to a life form scanner that would be equipped aboard Guardian-class patrol ships, used mainly by bounty hunters and mercenaries, could lock on to enemies' potential bounties. It does say that stuff like Imperial scanning technology could get through electronic concealment, so it does seem to imply that there are ways of interfering with it. I don't know if it's a thing that's only you have to actively do it. The main thing here is
The little fluff thing says there's different kinds. Some can pick up like heat and mass and figure it out. Other
Yeah.
ones can just like pick up if there's life support in that room.
the main reason I'm holding up here is there are complications introduced by hyperspace travel, and complications introduced by having shields. And I'm gonna make a ruling here. If we find information later and it's different than my ruling, we will go with that, but we will not retcon what happened. I want that to be very clear.
Sensor malfunction.
Yeah, so while traveling through hyperspace and with the shields up and with the power at full drive and everything, the big important thing is your drive is at full charge and the ship is at full power. You can detect life signs aboard the ship. It's just they're not. It's not going to be exact in any regards, and you're going to have to actually use the scanner.
This is super frustrating. I found a forum that has the exact information we want, but it's on the Wizards community forum and it's no longer supported.
Yeah.
Is the arrow sealed?
No, because people were talking inside of it.
No, I mean, is the arrow sealed as in, if you sealed it up, would it be able to contain oxygen, or would it not be sealed? Is it airtight?
I don't think it has environmental sealing. I think that's something you can add.
Okay, good to know.
So Signal, can you please give me this might be a two-phase check. Well, let's just roll perception, please.
Is that gonna be, well, okay.
Alright, so Signal, you are indeed able to determine that there are, let's see here, 5 life signs aboard the ship. You are further able to determine that there is a 2 Twi'leks, a Bothan, a Claudite, and an Iotrin. You are able to determine that there is, let's see here.
Can I use computer to determine the exact location of the 2 Twi'leks?
I'll let you try. I'm not going to tell you the difficulty.
I will hotwire my processor.
What does that do?
Gives me a +5 bonus on intelligence-based checks for 2 rounds.
Is there a negative to that?
I go -1% condition track until I repair myself.
Okay.
It's a cool ability, actually. I like that.
The droid-only talent.
I will re-roll that.
If I could hotwire my brain, that would be quite the thing.
much
That
better.
was not a good. That's actually worse.
How's it worse?
What?
There
It
was a
says
5
15.
on the dice first.
The die
time,
is much
wasn't it?
higher.
Did you not add a modifier to that?
Oh yeah,
second
okay,
one?
that's what it is. It's supposed to
Alright,
be
so it's
20.
20. You can definitively determine that there is a Twi'lek in the detention cells Pretty much exactly where the prisoner should be. You cannot get a definitive signal reading on the other Twi'lek.
Rayla is likely in the detention cells.
Can you access the cameras in the detention cells?
Attempt to? I don't think we had one on the
Yeah.
cell itself, did we?
You had a wide-angle one that showed the cells. Yeah, you access it. You don't see anything, though. I think you see a little bit of motion at the bottom of the camera. It looks like someone's standing right beneath the camera.
This is the only view from the camera cells.
Yeah. Rayla, are you still trying to hotwire the door?
Yes, I don't have any other way out of the room.
Yeah, give me another check by now.
You said like the intercom panel in that room was like part of the whole thing that's been ripped apart, right?
Yes.
I heard it closed at one moment.
Are you sending a message down there, Chen?
I'm gonna try.
Well, you don't know it's been ripped apart.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So are you
yeah,
sending a message or not?
I'm gonna send a message and say and just actually I'm gonna send like a message to the whole deck D if I can, and just
Okay.
ask Rayla to report in basically.
That adequately explains Rayla's mechanics check, as she is currently hotwiring that, which is partially in tune with the intercom. And so I think you're looking over Signal's shoulder. Like Signal doesn't actually look at the screen, but like as he's siphoning through like the data, you can see popping up on the screen, which would normally be used by a human, that like you can see the feeds, and you can just see that there's like a person standing beneath the camera, but you can't make any details. Really, you're in the process of trying to hotwire the door, and all of a sudden there's a power surge through it. You get electrified, and you not fly back, but you just like get shocked and like jolt back and fall down onto the ground. And suddenly, a female Twi'lek like falls down onto the ground, into the view of the camera.
And I can see that it's Rayla, right?
Yeah,
Is there? I think the other one is like orange, right? So
yeah.
Can I open that door from here?
so yeah, at this point I'm going to tell Signal to unlock the detention cell door.
Okay, so yeah, Signal. You go over to your subroutine for unlocking everything. It looks like it has definitely been accessed, but you are able to unlock the door there. Roddick and Bunko. While all of that is happening, are you guys breaching the escape pod room?
That's correct. I am going to be trying to, what I'm going to do as soon as I'm in, right before I breach, I'm going to ask Signal how important the computer access room is up here. And then
Signal's very busy at the moment. He
I don't
hasn't
get an
seemed to
answer.
respond to you, because this is actually happening as he's doing this stuff.
I'm going to make a motion to Bunko, and I'm going to say, check the corners, and I'm going to basically go in, checking the corner to the left of the door, and then I'm going to sweep all the way over to computer access and get ready to breach there, because I'm figuring the pods have been bailed, so I don't think she'll be out there.
Okay, all right, yeah. So you guys rush into the escape pod room, and as you're walking past the doors, you can see through the little reinforced glass windows, you can just see like the openings to space out there, and you can see the fluttering of hyperspace beyond, and even just looking out at that makes you a little bit queasy. You actually cannot stare at hyperspace for too long without, like, it's called hyperspace madness. It's an interesting thing that we might not have to get into, or we might have to. But yeah, you guys get up to the bulkheads in front of computers access, both like plastered against it, like looking across the door at each other. Perception checks, both of you, please.
Wow. We have had some dice.
Nothing untoward.
All right, I'm gonna make a countdown. I'm gonna make a motion like with my hand again, like point right and point at Bunko, then point right, and I'm going to get ready to break left. Do another countdown. Basically, I'm just gonna sweep across computer access and go into that room just north of computer access. Second.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
You guys rush in there. Roddick breaking off to the left, Bunko breaking off to the right. You're sweeping your guns high and low. This is an area of the ship not frequently accessed by anyone but Signal usually, and Signal only rolls in here occasionally. The area is clear.
Do I know what kinds of things these computers can do? Because computer access is pretty vague, and I wonder how dangerous it is.
This is the computer mainframe. Like this literally can control the whole ship. Like you could technically control the ship from here. It's like piloting it from here. You would be piloting at a negative. Like anything you attempt to do remotely from here would be at a negative. The only thing you couldn't do would be fire the guns.
Can I see any sign anybody's been in here? Because that's where I'm suspecting the escape pods might have been fired from.
There's gonna be a hard perception check, but you can try. Wow.
Holy crap!
No one has been in here for some time. I think you can see just the faintest hint of dust on the floor, and there are like little Signal tread marks through it.
Yeah.
What do I know?
On a side note, I'm just curious. Does firing the escape pods that leave us in hyperspace still?
It was a question that I was thinking to myself. Would there be an automatic override if the escape pods were fired? Something you guys would all know living in the Star Wars universe. If you don't have a hyperdrive and you are in hyperspace, you are stuck. Whoever or whatever was in those escape pods are now permanently stuck flying through hyperspace forever. The thing about your ship though is, I was thinking, and I'm like, would you have like an override to where if you started launching escape pods, it would turn your hyperdrive off? And I came down on some ships would have it, and some ships wouldn't, and it could be overridden. And it would just be a case-by-case basis.
Alright, but to my knowledge, we are still in hyperspace.
Oh, you're absolutely in hyperspace.
Would I know if we can shut off life support room to room or deck to deck?
You can do that. It would be a complicated procedure. Like it would take some time. In terms of like, you would have to literally do it room by room. Like, okay, medical lab, done. Sick bay, done. Crew quarters, crew quarters 1, crew quarters 2, and like you would have to do it like, like by that.
I think I'm gonna
but you could do it.
I think I'm gonna radio up Jen and say, I'm gonna try to get to the suits and collect them. I'm gonna bring them up to the bridge, and I'm gonna suggest Signal turn off the life support throughout the ship. I could deal with one Twi'lek if she's gasping for air.
I'm going to say get the suits and rendezvous with Rayla down in the detention cells.
Copy. Where will you be?
I'm a signal on the bridge.
Keep that droid safe. They might be coming that way. Then we're gonna motion to Bunko. Where are the suits kept? The basic survival suits.
That's another good question. I think, let's see here. The airlocks probably have not much room for them, to be honest. Like, if I was designing a ship, that's where I would keep them. We said that you guys had, like, pretty much one for each member of the team. I'm thinking there's probably one suit in...
I think either like storage or the armory, probably.
Yeah, I'm thinking the majority of them are actually probably in storage. Because it's adjacent to the escape pods, to the airlocks, to engineering. It's roughly in the center of the ship.
Where would the other one be? If there's any additional ones on the ship, because I want to make sure we've collected them all. If we're going to try
There's
those.
one in my room right now, but I don't know if you'd be aware of that.
Yeah, if you haven't told me, I wouldn't know about that one. Is there any other one that I would
Purging
know
life
about, or-
support is inadvisable. Would result in mission failure.
Floor by floor, not everything. I'm going to remind him. To say just smoke her out, so to speak.
I want to. I'm gonna like, because I told Signal to unlock that door in detention cells. So I'm going to like comm to the panel in the workshop, and like just kind of call to Rayla, basically. Just say Rayla. report
Yeah, so
in,
Rayla, the door finally opens. Your hands are really smarting now. You've got tingling down your leku. And you kind of like stagger out of the detention cells. I think maybe your little ear nodes ringing, and you put your hand on the wall, and like you almost jump when it starts buzzing, and you see that the intercom is active.
I shakingly answer it, probably. Yes?
What happened down there? Where's the prisoner?
He kicked me into the force field and locked me in the room. I haven't seen her since.
Okay, hold position in the workshop. Bunko and Roddick will be coming to you shortly. And then I'm going to also tell Signal to get the lifts operational again.
Lift 2 is already operational. Someone has lifted my lockdown, unsure as to how.
It wasn't by any control. It wasn't by any codes. Like Rayla herself, out of game, came up and just unlocked things herself. So where does everybody go?
I flip through the camera accesses on every room that has one.
Okay, all right. You'll be doing that for a little bit. Give me a perception check.
Does my hot wiring still apply or not? Since we're not in rounds, so to speak. The round is only supposed to be 6 seconds, but it's weird.
Absolutely not.
Alright.
Oh.
I have not rolled above a 6 this time today.
And you
I've
can only
rolled
do
one
NAC
nat
once?
20 and everything
Only
else
once
terrible.
per day.
Oh, okay, that's unfortunate. All right, so yeah, Signal. I think you spend a lot of time looking through the you're literally just cycling. It's like Signal. This is what you imagine taking a job as like head of security for a shopping mall would be. Like you're just like staring in front of at all of these security feeds as they like blink through, and it's is very daunting. What is everybody else doing as Signals is literally just staring at the feed for the next 20
I want
minutes to an hour?
I want. Oh, geez, 20 minutes to
It
an
takes
hour.
that long.
He
Wow.
rolled an 8. He might not get any results at all.
I want to. Well, long before 20 minutes have passed, I want to ask Signal to lock down the hatch, the external hatch, and the lift with the hatch access. That's the only way off the ship.
I can do so, but she apparently has been able to release it before.
Well, do what you can and keep monitoring
Because
it.
I can do the same thing I did before, but
Well, according to the DM, I released it, not her.
But yeah, it's not even according to me. It's Rayla. Rayla did that
I'm
because
saying,
Chen
I
was
do not
locked in the
believe Rayla
cargo
would have done
ramp.
that, but it's already done.
Rayla did that. Chen was locked
I
in
unlocked
the
door,
cargo bay.
Yeah, I unlocked
One
that
door.
You had to unlock a door and a lift. He had to get up through one of the lifts.
Yes.
So you unlocked a door and a lift. The important thing was you unlocked one of the lifts.
Yeah.
That was you doing something. That wasn't me telling you you did something.
Yes, I did that. But all the other doors are unlocked now too, right?
Yeah. I'm not telling you that you did that. All I said was you unlocked a door down there and you unlocked a lift. I didn't say you unlocked every door on the ship. All of the ship's doors are now unlocked. I didn't say you did that. I said you unlocked a lift.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take this time. Obviously, he's not here. I'm gonna at least search the cargo bay. I don't know what else is in the cargo bay other than the aerospeeder.
Perception check, please. And how long are you searching?
Imagine I spent, like, I don't know, 5 minutes? I don't know how big the cargo bay actually is compared to me.
Well, it's, I mean, look at your character, it's roughly to scale.
Okay, so, what all is in it? If it's full of boxes, it
There's
takes a lot
this,
longer.
it's not full of boxes, there are some crates in here for your supplies, and there is the land speeder. 5 minutes will be more than enough to check it. I do want to know from Signal how long Signal is searching the feeds, because if you're only searching it for like a few minutes, that 8 is definitely going to be a result of nada.
Okay, as a swift action, I want to sense my surroundings.
All right.
DC 15 to ignore cover and concealment perception checks at the end of the next round.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, use the force.
Then I have to do a separate use the force check for my actual perception check.
You made the DC.
Wow, my dice are not with me today.
19's not that
it's
bad.
A 9. I thought it was a
Better
6.
than your 4. Yeah, like you're kind of walking through the cargo bay, but mostly searching with your senses, and you don't find anything. You do feel a lingering presence near the arrow. You can see where the the hatch on the side is still lifted up. You kind of feel the presence of Chen and Bunko, almost like sort of wispy smoke that was here for a time. But that's about it.
I take a moment during my sensor sweep to lock everything, and I go back to opening doors on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. All right, everybody, you are currently locked where you are. You have to literally ask for access for every single door.
I have already made
Um,
it to storage to collect
Open
the
the
suits,
plat-
or where would we be exactly?
Okay. Bunko, where are you?
I am with Roddick.
Okay, so you're both in storage. You're both locked in storage. All right, so Roddick and Bunko, please give me perception checks.
Perception check coming up.
This is most definitely going to be the most commonly used skill in this game. Wow, a 20.
Wow, I rolled 220 perception checks. Jesus.
That's crazy.
My luck has turned around.
So what are you looking for, and how are you looking for it?
Once I've secured the area, I want to try to find all of the suits to make sure that I've accounted for all of them and that I've collected them so she cannot get to them.
Okay. Um. Yeah. All of the suits are here.
Is our grab? I'm not sure how big a grab hitch is. Is it stored in storage or is it stored in the cargo bay?
A grab hitch?
Yeah, I bought us a grab hitch. It's like
A
a.
gravity hitch.
Is that like
with
a sled?
It's literally like a trailer hitch, I think, but it's Star Wars-ized. So
It's basically like for hauling crates. So I'm not sure if it would be in storage.
So it's
in
like
the cargo bay.
a wheelie truck.
Yeah, it's like a hover wheelie truck, basically. It was like a
that
100
would-
credit or something.
That
cheap
would
to-
definitely be down in the cargo bay.
Sounds good. Makes complete sense. I wasn't sure how big it would be.
I mean, it's literally probably the size of a normal, truck that you use in a factory or whatever.
That makes complete sense. It wouldn't be up here in storage. Is there anything else missing in storage? While I'm
That's a good question, and with a 20, you get some answers. Yeah, you're looking through, and you can see that some of the the storage bins in here have been rifled through. It takes you a few minutes to determine exactly what, though. Like, are you willing to you can tell immediately that some things have been taken.
If
How
we're
long
locked-
are you willing to stay in here?
If we're locked in until they get the door open for us in a moment, might as well take the advantage of the time and take a quick inventory.
Well, it's
Alright, give
whenever
me
you ask to open it.
All right, give me a second to think.
If it's been taken, I think it's worth investigating to find out what.
I also actively monitor every door control for when they open and close.
So first off, you see that a container marked medical supplies is definitely open. You can also see. I think there is a container here. I guess it's not a container. It looks like there's a shelf with some diagnostic equipment. That there's a space where there's some there would probably be something that went. Like kind of ship's maintenance tools.
That's very interesting. I'm going to radio it up and see if I can figure out what's missing and what she might be doing with it. Would I know what's missing, or would I just know something?
No, not even with a 20.
I'll patch onto the comms and say something's missing out of storage in the maintenance locker. It looks like she took some medical supplies and something from the engineering tools. Can anybody tell me what this might have been? And I'm just gonna kind of glance at it and try to describe if there's like a storage container for it, or just.
There was a storage container for the medical supplies. It looked like literally surplus that's not stored in sickbay and in the medical lab. Like probably your extra med packs, stuff like that. That's just not currently being stored in there.
Roddick,
What-
suggest you clear engine access or engine room next, as you would have to leave hyperspace in order to do that, and we are on the bridge. So other access for hyperspace control would be engine room.
If she took a tool, it might suggest what she was doing in engineering. Want to know if anybody can tell me what that might have been. I'm going to do my best to describe it, and then I'm going to head over to the door.
You definitely can't describe the tool.
I would like
even.
to... Sorry.
The great thing about the 20 you got was simply that you noticed that there was
Missing, yeah.
it was almost impossible that you would have noticed this at all. It doesn't look like there's no styrofoam cutout of the tool or anything. There's just a space missing on a shelf that looks like something should go there.
Okay.
So maybe somebody took it out and neglected to put it back in, but you're super aware and you think maybe she took something. You just have the feeling it's maintenance equipment of some sort. It might have been a kit. It might have been a specific tool. If that general question comes across the comms, I don't think anybody is really certain what it might have been. unless everybody comes here and looks. And even then, like most of the equipment here is for humans, and like there aren't too many humans actually on board who do maintenance.
I think what I'll say then is I'll say that she might have done something to engineering. I'm going to need someone more qualified down here, but we'll take a look. And I'm going to motion over and stack up on engineering room and say, can you let us in?
I open any door they request to have opened.
Okay, so engine room slides open. You hear the dull thrum of power through the room.
I will go in and making sure to check those corners as they say as I push my way in.
Okay. All right. So Bunko and Roddick, you make your way in. Perception checks. Wow, Bunko. Wow, Bunko.
Dice hate you, man, with your perception.
Dice
I swear.
roll.
That
of us
one,
today.
that one, he was gonna like trip over like a hydro spanner and
I think
break his
other than
nose.
other than a couple 20s, everything's been like less than 10.
Yeah, so
There was
you
that one round where everybody rolled like
That's an
17
average
plus on
roll.
perception, but the rest of us are 10 under every round.
just because it's average doesn't mean it's good. Yeah, you guys make your way to engine room. What are you looking for?
I am looking for not only her, but anything it looks like she may have tampered with.
You don't see her anywhere. You know, across the far end of the room, you've got some panels. It's not loud in here, but there's like a general white noise kind of thrum of power. This isn't like the actual where engines are. This is, engine control. You walk over to the diagnostic board. You don't know anything about Starship engines, so you can't really tell anything, but like there are lights that are green, there are lights that are red, some lights that are yellow and blinky. There's like one light that's like going around in a circle even. Everything looks like it's working.
I'm going to, is there any way, I'm going to probably pass through as MC, is there anything I can do from here to help you run a diagnostic? I'm concerned she took something and it's right next to engineering. I want to make sure she hasn't tampered with her drive or something.
Do I have a camera in that room? No, probably not.
You have a camera in engineering, but it's not like you can see terminals.
These cameras actually record timestamp wise?
They do. Someone has to actively search through it, and the Signal's already having a hard enough time searching through the
gonna
live feeds.
Holler up and see what Jin's up to right now. Jin, I'm going to ask, what's your position, Jin?
Still on the bridge?
Can you get Signal to give you access to the security logs? Maybe you can piece together what happened through, if you catch a glimpse of her actually on the video.
Say, roger that. I'll see what I can do. Proceed to engine access, sweep and clear, and then report to me when you're
That's
done.
where they are.
We're on
I
our
think-
way
I
to,
think, oh, no, actually,
No, they're
engine
in the
room.
engine
Okay,
room.
okay, yeah.
we're headed for engine access. We will head down to the, check out Aurelia after that. On
You
our
guys
way.
are technically in engine room. You're not in engine access.
I didn't see there was one going into
Yep,
the room.
yep. I'm gonna go for, I'm gonna make my way to engine access then, I guess, as, call our way
Okay.
ahead.
All right.
Same basic figure, I want to stack up on the door and, to breach in with Bunko and Sync.
Okay. All right. Give me perception checks as you guys breach the room. Pretty good perception checks. The door slides open. It's fairly dark in engine access. This is not one of the rooms that people primarily go into. It is literally as it sounds. Like this is the access to the ship's sublight and in hyperdrive. There is a steady thrum in the background, fairly loud actually, especially since you guys are in hyperspace.
I want to
Um,
retrieve one of the hollow lamps from the wall, and I'm
Mhm.
going to connect that to my shotgun and enable that so I have more light in
Alright.
this room.
That works. So you grab one off the wall and you stick it onto your gun and you flick it on. So you start doing a scout about the room. What are you looking for?
Anything that looks like she's been either tampering with it, or of course the prisoner herself.
A 24 and a 20. You don't see anything.
Engine access looks clear. I'm going to report back. I'm going to say we're going to need lift access if we're going to go down to Rayla.
Yeah, by this time, Rayla, you're definitely done with the cargo bay.
I would. Well, actually, I can't. Can I? Do the actual door panels have comms on them, just like the one in the workshop, or not?
All of the door panels have attached comm links.
Okay, then I will go. She took my comm link, right? She didn't just throw it against
Yep.
the ground or anything.
If not by room, can I sort by deck for those place signs?
You can try. Do you want to give me another? I think this one would probably be a use computers check.
Yep, sure.
I'm going to like calm to Rayla or to the panel of the room that Rayla's in, and tell her I want her to guard the. I still don't know which side of the ship is which. Tell her to guard the lift that leads to the hatch. Just to basically get in the lift and guard it, because I don't want anyone stealing her ship.
I had a question about that. Is it possible for her to get on my ship while we're in hyperspace? Can you leave the confines of the ship to get in my ship while in hyperspace?
You can technically do that. It would be extremely dangerous. Like the escape pods, if you left, like... The thing is, there's basically a small field generated about the ship by the hyperdrive. If you left it, you would be trapped in hyperspace forever.
I would think she would have that sickness that you guys were talking about too.
Well, the fighter does have a hyperdrive on it.
So if you guys are going to talk anymore, you guys need to actually have this conversation. I'm going to start limiting a lot of this meta conversation because a lot of it has been going on fairly recently. In actuality, when you guys are having these conversations, I'm going to start limiting your in-character actions and say that you are actually having these conversations over your comm links, and whatever it is you were doing, you were stopping.
I'm just gonna tell Rayla, like I said, to guard the lift to the external hatch.
All right.
Reply to comms. That would be difficult, as there's no room before that hatch, and the lift hits 3 rooms.
I mean, get in the lift and actually defend it there.
I could do that.
All right, so really,
I
you
request
get
access
into
to
the
droid
lift.
storage and repair.
All right. Can you give me a perception check?
I will ignore cover and steal it first because I can. It works. Which said you not, and then not use computer.
Since the force has to be an active thing, or since reach out with your senses is an active thing, by the way, not a GM calls you for it in the future.
But now?
But when you're using your sense, whatever it was you were talking about, that is an active thing you have to dedicate.
Yeah, it's on
when
my
I'm
turn,
asking you
so it's
for
active.
when I'm asking you for a perception check, that is a reactive thing, by the way. Otherwise, you guys would never make perception checks unless you guys said you were making one. So yeah, you make your way into the lift. You don't notice anything untowards. Roddick and Bunko, you clear engine access. What do you do?
As soon as engine access is clear, I'm going to start making my way to Rayla if we can. Same careful procedures.
All right, so you guys just move outside and find that Rayla is in one of the lifts.
Copy that.
And ignore that I told you to report in when you're done, clearing the engine access.
No, I'll definitely report in. I'll report it as we're head out that we're on our way right now. And once we bump into Rayla, we're going to say that I'm gonna basically quiz her about if she saw anything at all that might indicate what the prisoners was doing or anything like that. I'm assuming she probably didn't, but something I'd probably re-ask her.
Well, once we meet up, she has my comm link. Anything you've sent to me, she probably knows.
Roddick nods and says, well, she doesn't know what I'm thinking. I'm going to lean forwards a bit and say that, Rayla, you might want to be careful because I'm planning on seeing if I can signal to shut down life support of this ship. And then I'm going to hunt her down solo while she doesn't have any way to breathe. I think I can
You'll want
handle
to
her
account
these
for all the
gas
flight
tanks.
suits, then.
I'm going to do, motion to the fact that we're carrying basically the flight suits right now with us.
You accounted for all 5 of those and the one that was in my room?
In your room? I'm going to ask with a
Yeah, I
bit of
typically
surprise.
ignore it, but command gave me a uniform.
I'm going to kind of glance at Bunko and say that, alright, we'll go get that one. Then we're going to head up to the bridge.
So, Signal, you're searching your, life support records and stuff like that. You aren't able to get a specific pinpoint, but there is an odd blip on B deck.
I have a life support reading on B deck. Is it big enough to be a human, or is it small?
It's hard to tell. The fluctuations from hyperspace are making things difficult. You're able to narrow down the signature to B deck, but it's just a little odd.
Well, nobody's on B deck right now, so...
Unless a cat or something got on board. That's what I was
Cat.
getting at.
I'm going to calm Roddick and say that I suspect she's hiding on B deck.
Does Star Wars have cats? Or is it like always a little alien species?
They have cats.
I remember seeing a cat in Star Wars. But
I
regardless.
don't know if they're like pure cats, but there are like Corellian sand panthers, which are basically like actual panthers.
I have an odd reading on B deck, but no one is on B deck, so a possible prisoner could be there.
I'm gonna calm Roddick and tell him that she's probably hiding on B deck, and given how long it's been, she might have access to a spacesuit, so we'll probably have to
Caution,
sweep the
B
whole
deck
deck
also
room by
contained
room.
armory. Armory door also was unlocked.
That's going to make me sigh and say that, thank God they didn't have many weapons in the armory, to my knowledge. And I'm going to kind of cross my arms and say, for once our poor funding will come into our advantage. We might have a targeting laser and a
He
few
only
other things
needs
that are
one.
kept there, though.
Okay, I'm gonna tell Roddick and B to proceed to deck B and meet me at the armory.
It's also
Proceeding to
worth
the
noting
armory.
that there is at least one blaster pistol in my room. The old one that I replaced with the new one.
Oh boy. You gave her a spacesuit and a blaster pistol. That's horrible.
And
No,
with that, I am going to get on the port lift and proceed down to deck B. And also I'm going to, as I leave, I'm going to order Signal to lock the lift behind me.
I've been locking every door.
So
after you gave it.
you're proceeding to what deck?
Deck B.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I'm
so
gonna
everybody's
meet-
heading to B
I'm
deck.
going to meet Roddick and B at the armory.
And where's Rayla going?
Taking the lift that I'm in up to B deck.
Okay.
Important
so-
question. I know that in Star Wars, blasters get fired around on spaceships all the time.
Yep.
It's
Is
Yep.
my scattergun going to
The,
blow through walls?
no.
The privateer book reports that it actually is very dangerous to fire blasters inside of spaceships, which is why they use swords a lot.
It's not going to just blow through a wall. I will point you to this area of the ship, though. If you guys were to have a fight in the crew lounge or the mess hall, things could get very dangerous.
That glass of some kind, right? Or the transparent steel,
It's-
or whatever the equivalent
It's
is.
it's transparent steel, but it's still literally like there are a lot of areas of your ship where like also the detention cells where the exterior bulkheads are right up against the interior bulkheads. It's not the most secure of designs, but it is efficient. Like that's why it's a boxy form. There are some internal crawlways and stuff, so it's really hard to know on this ship in particular. Where if you fire a blaster, it might go through a bulkhead and into just like a maintenance access way, or it might hit the ship's exterior armor.
For future knowledge, is there any like safety systems I'm aware of in result of that?
I'm gonna have to play that kind of loose. Again, the reason why we went to Star Wars was because you guys were complaining that we were playing Stars Without Numbers way too technical. And Star Wars doesn't really cover a lot of these situations, and that was the primary reason that you guys were complaining. So, there are a lot of things that are not covered in Star Wars. And, emergency blast doors and stuff, yes. Even emergency, like, blast shutters over viewports, that's another thing. Excuse me. But, like, there's not a whole lot of details into just generic emergency systems. So we'll be playing that as they pop up. So that's what you get for playing a system like this. You don't have a whole lot of advanced knowledge about a lot of things. I have to make it up because that's just how it's going to go.
Right. So I guess we'll clear room by room as we go.
You do know that it's generally not great to fire blasters aboard a starship. You might want to tone down the blaster charge if it's at all possible, but it's not like firing it aboard an airplane. You
I
generally
understand
have
you're trying to
exterior
stun
armor.
them. I don't know
at
how
least.
if that differs from a regular blaster bolt, but
Yeah, like it's you at least have your exterior armor for the most part, but there might be thin spots in the hull. And regardless, there might be volatile things inside the ship you don't want to shoot.
Instead of
Power
worry about
conduits
the
being a
scatter
big
gun in
thing.
particular. So yeah, I've got that in mind.
Alright, so everybody is now on B deck. I'm gonna drop you guys up there. What do you do? The lift opens. It's very cramped, but Rayla, Bunko, and Roddick all emerge on the starboard side, out in the quote-unquote interview room, which is ostensibly an interrogation room. And Chen comes out in basically kind of a functionless room at the point. Like it's just it's a lift access room.
I'm going to Comradic and say, let me know when you're ready and we will, breach the hallway there together. And tell Rayla to hold down the interview room and the lift.
well, they're
Need to go to Rayla's room after retrieve a suit. I'm gonna comment and say we're on our way. Be in position in a second.
All right, so you guys stack up against the doors.
We're gonna clear the interview room and customs.
I
What?
think that probably the first thing we're doing is clearing armory, and then probably go back to customs. Would be my guess. Oh, you get a good point. That's on a blind spot. We might want to clear customs on the way up. I'm gonna comment to basically relay that to Jen that we're gonna sweep customs on the way to the armory.
Roger
well,
that.
as for orders, I will stand here with my blaster pistol in the lift, maintaining visual. Can I keep the lift doors open? Or they're automatic?
Yeah.
close?
Yeah, you can keep them up. You can see them moving up to customs. Do you guys ask signal to trigger the door?
Indeed, I do.
All right, so Roddick and Bunko storm into customs. Chen, you can't get in there, but you can see this happen, or you can hear it happening from the other side of the wall. And Roddick and Bunko, you storm in. Perception check, please. All right. Yeah, you come in here. You level your blasters. The lights are turned off. You've got your shotgun light kind of out across the room. This is a very unused room in the ship. You start walking through the room, splaying your light across the desks and the chairs as you make your way through, and kind of eliminating the shadows one by one as you go. Eventually, you get to the far end of the room. It seems clear, and you stack up on the external door to the hallway.
I'm going to give him a nod and I guess get ready to breach. Get my shotgun kind of positioned under my arm, and
Tell Chen that we're ready.
All right, so Chen, you get a message from them. Signal, I assume you open the doors at the same
Yep.
time.
Yep, so I'm gonna like count down 3, 2, 1, and then we'll kind of go out into the hallway, I guess.
All right. All right, so the doors open, and you guys, dive, roll, or whatever into the hallway. Roddick, you can move your token, by the way.
oh, excellent. 1 second. Trying to move him right now. Here. Okay, there you go. It's like he's snapping to a grid or something. It's weird.
Yeah, he is. There's just an invisible grid.
Okay.
Yeah, so you guys clear out. Lights are fairly dim on this deck. Not totally turned off, but yeah, they're
Keeping
kind
my,
of set in standby mode.
I'm keeping that lamp enabled here for what it's worth.
Yeah, totally fine. So all three of you meet up with Chen. Everybody, except for Roddick, since he's wearing his full faceplate, everybody looks a little bit tense here. Even Bunko. Everybody's, especially I think maybe even Chen, breathing a little bit heavier, anticipating what's going on.
Okay.
What do you guys do?
I'm gonna go check out the armory. Roddick and B hold this hallway down.
Copy
And I'm gonna
that.
head for the armory.
They won't get past us. And I'll,
All right, so you head to the armory.
Have Signal open the door.
I'm
Have
gonna
my
inspect the-
blaster drawn, of course.
As soon as I'm in, I'm definitely checking the armory also for anything that may be missing.
Oh, so you're going with
I don't think you can get in that way. You have to go where Chen is.
Ah, okay, my bad. Hang on, let me
That's
remove
the
my.
blaster.
You see the white lines. Those are the doors.
That might be why I moved it there. I think you had to come in through here, this door up here, to get to the armory. Is what
That's
I was
the
thinking.
galley.
No.
Oh, so I thought this was the armory. I apologize.
No.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay.
So Roddick is going in with you. Perception checks from all.
What part of hold down the hallway don't you understand, Roddick?
Roddick doesn't apparently trust you very much.
He only speaks binary.
Perception checks from every person on the ship.
Actually, Cat jumped on my Xbox, and I might have missed that for a second because it kind of made the Xbox here start up and stuff. So I do apologize if I caught that order wrong.
Did you hear my order?
I am rolling perception right now.
Those are some good perception checks for the most part.
Also
Except for, one of them.
She does too, but as a Twi'lek, I ignore concealment from darkness.
Yeah, from darkness. Alright, so the door to the armory opens up. There is no one standing inside.
I'm gonna do a quick inventory and see if anything seems to be missing.
Give me an intelligence check.
Going for it now.
Nothing seems to be missing at all.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was waiting for the modifier. I rolled it twice on accident. I got a 4
Nothing
both
seems
times,
to be
though, 'cause I
missing at
suck.
all.
Holy crap.
Everything looks to be in its place.
I'm going to kind of give the armory a good look over, just see if I notice anything.
I'm gonna get on the
What are you
comms and
trying
say,
to look for?
Like just like any missing weapons or anything.
Intelligence check, please.
I'm gonna get on the comms and say, remember, she likes bladed weapons. She's gonna be up close.
Again, you guys don't typically have a whole lot in here to begin with. You haven't really fully stocked this armory ever. So, yeah, you're not seeing anything that comes to mind.
Okay. I'm going to tell Roddick to I'm gonna tell Bunko to hold this hallway while me and Roddick go sweep the crew quarters one by one.
Okay. Right. Perception checks for I guess everybody again for the next few minutes while you're sweeping the crew quarters. Poor signal. So, are you guys splitting up when you're searching the crew quarters, or are you searching them together?
We're gonna
Will it
search
have
them
an effect
together.
on time? Alright, so you're searching them
Well,
together?
Not like so much like each quarters together, but we're gonna kind of like stay together. So like I'll search, the north
One's on
room,
the
and I'll
left.
search the south room, and just kind of like
Okay.
that.
Alright, so where do you guys start? I'm not gonna like describe every room, but I just want to
Yeah,
know
we'll
where
start
you're
on
going.
the starboard side.
Okay. Alright.
I think the rule Radical will be playing by is as long as you always have at least one person in sight from your group at all times. It's all good.
Alright, you make your way through the various quarters. Nothing seems to be amiss.
Do we run into Rayla's quarters? 'Cause I'm looking for her to get her suit out of it.
Rayla, which quarters are your quarters?
That one.
Okay. So it's pretty late in your search, actually. I'm thinking you're probably going counterclockwise, so you like go through the guest quarters and then in through the refresher and then out through the CEO's berth and then up through the port side quarters.
Yes.
So you finally get to Rayla's quarters. You don't notice anything odd, but yeah, you get to Rayla's quarters.
Out of curiosity, one quick question: who has the stun control?
I think that would be you.
You were the last one to watch, I think so.
Okay, if I have the stun control, I might occasionally just every now and then give it a tap, see if I either hear them sparking or if maybe hear a thump of somebody hitting the ground.
Bunko, where are your quarters?
I do want to collect Rayla's suit though when we get to it.
I will say in the south. I don't know. I had never picked one.
Just ping quarters for me. Okay. Before you get to Rayla's quarters, you're occasionally going through and like pressing your stun. You open up Bunko's quarters, lights are off, everything looks normal in here. You're about to close the door when you press the stun controls, and you hear a noise from inside the quarters.
I think that's definitely worth the motion.
I'm gonna kind of like turn around and face like those quarters, and then like just I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to kind of have my blaster sort of aimed and ready into the doorway.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
lights-
approach it like I've been approaching
Lights are
all
off,
the
and
quarters.
you hear like the sound of something when you activate the stun.
I'm gonna stack up on the door like I always do.
Okay, yeah, like you're kind of looking into the darkened, cubicle room of the quarters. How do you keep your quarters, Bunko? Are they neat and tidy? Are they a mess?
I would say not a mess, but not tidy.
Okay.
I might have stuff on the bed or whatever, but
Okay.
not all of it.
You're waiting outside the quarters, and I think you're both looking at each other, like just breathing for a second, sharing a very quiet glance.
Trying to check something real quick.
Radix checking something real quick.
I don't know what a halo lamp actually looks like. I'm just kind of curious if there's anything here.
I think it's just a straight up like
Flashlight, sort of.
Oh, it's a handheld disc-shaped lamp that generates light in their circumference.
it's a sticky lamp, the kind you press.
Yep.
Gonna be hard to actually stick that to a shotgun.
It specifically notes in the equipment that you can attach it to any weapon. Is
Yeah, but where do you-
immediately.
Where do you is the
Like,
sticky part on the side then? Because otherwise you would be sticking it to the side of the weapon and it would be like pointing to the side.
It's very
My
weird.
my guess is that it's like a cylinder with like a light bulb kind of protruding out the top, sort of thing. So it's less like a flashlight and more like a lamp or something.
Okay, maybe.
It says that it does it in a 360-degree radius. It's not directional light, which is an interesting
Oh, okay. All right, so that's interesting. That could blind you. All right.
bit. White light is radiated out in a 3-meter radius.
Okay,
Light
so
is
it's
cooled to the
actually
touch
it's
and
actually
easily
kind of
attached to other objects.
it's actually kind of hard to look past this sometimes. Like it could actually give you a negative at some points.
Yep, it's not really a combat thing. I put them on here for emergency purposes, but yeah.
Yeah.
the,
So what are you doing, Roddick? We've been standing at the store for a while.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure how it was working. I am actually going to since it's how dark is it in there right now?
Pitch black. Only the light from the hallway, and that's
I am
still a little bit
actually
dim.
going to tear my my sticky thing off the hollow lamp or halo lamp, and I am going to since it's like a disc, I'm going to try to toss it into the room to light the room up.
Okay, so there's a shh, and then you throw it in the room. It collides in there, and it like clatters to the floor, rolls past a pair of I think like pink lace panties, and comes to a stop. You can see like shadows illuminated against the wall fairly exaggeratedly. There's like a chair in here, a table. I think there's a disassembled gun maybe or something. It's not very disorganized, but it's also not like super clean like your room, Roddick. You can see a few clothes hanging out of the drawer. It's still not perfectly illuminated, but due to the positioning of the light, but you can see some in here.
Prisoner, surrender now, and your charges will only be minor. You are only looking at about 6 more years currently. If you attempt to do any action other than surrender, this could end much worse for you. This is your
You mean it-
final warning.
Give me an intimidation check.
Here we go. Where is it here? Let me find it. I can't find intimidation. Hold on a second.
It's not a skill.
Oh, it's. I guess it would be persuasion.
Oh, okay. Hold on, let me roll persuasion.
It's a function of persuasion.
Wow.
okay.
I rolled a 2.
I think there's a moment where you choke a little bit in your helmet because you're like, oh god, she's on the other side and she's gonna come out and like slice my throat. Utter silence from the interior of the room.
I think I'm gonna start making my hand out in a motion, counting down from 3. I'm obviously preparing to breach.
All right, so 3, 2, 1.
And I go in.
All right, yeah. So you rush into the room. Chen, you rush in behind him.
Guess we're like over here now.
You guys rush into the room, you know, leveling your gun. There's really not a whole lot of places to hide. Like, you look around, there's nobody on the bed. You quickly, like, kneel down and look, and nobody under the bed.
Press the
heard
button
something.
again,
There's
Roddick.
still a... do you turn the light on to the room?
I'm gonna size. I'm assuming it's some sort of electronic device and click the light on. Yes.
You turn the light on. You see the stun cuffs lying neatly on Bunko's pillow.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, I was worried about that, Bunko. I was getting a laugh about that possibility. But yeah, I am going to walk over and I'm going to pick up the stun cuffs and see. I guess I'm going to inspect them to see how, if there's any indication of how the hell she got these off. It might give us some indication what she's got.
Let me look up a skill.
There's a couple feats, Star, that you don't have to have tools.
Well, she has tools.
Oh, I know how she did it. I'm trying to see what skill he might use. I'm thinking it's probably mechanics, but it might be knowledge. Let me just do one quick look.
If it was D&D 3.5, it'd be escape artist, but I don't think it actually has that.
Just to see how she did it, not how not like how she did it, but like for me to figure out how she did it. I
It
think
might
that's
be
what
a
he's looking
function
up.
of acrobatics, actually.
Mechanics, there is a disable device function. Yeah, roll a mechanics check.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, so you can see that there's some scratching along the like the release mechanism, like some fine scratching. It looks like it's been jimmied open, not forced. Somehow she picked this lock. It's not even like there's not even like a key lock, but I think there's like an emergency release in case you don't have the correct remote for it, you know, like in case the remote got lost.
It's also possible she could have escaped with a DC 25 escape artist check.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's definitely clear that it's been tampered with some sort of metallic device, because it did leave a little bit of fine scoring on it. But they weren't like abused or anything. It was very clearly kind of like finely done.
Well, let's keep going.
Yeah, I'm going to put my cuffs back on me. I'm going to test them out to see if they actually work in a little bit later, and then I guess I'll equip my weapon again and say that she's struck out again. Keep going.
All right, so fast forward a little bit in time. Rayla's quarters. I believe you wanted to know when you were at Rayla's quarters.
That's correct. I am going to, once we've entered her quarters, I'm going to try and see if I can find that suit she was talking about and add that to the other suits that we're carrying currently.
Before you open the door, I want to...
You're really muffled.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Before you open the door, I'll have my pistol in my right hand, and I'm gonna pull a stun grenade off my bandolier with my left.
Okay. All right. So Chen obviously gets ready. Roddick, do you tap the door open command?
Yes, I do. I'll get everything ready, do our normal breaching procedure.
Okay, so you guys move in. Rayla, can you describe your quarters for us? And like where
Well, it's a fairly compact
key things are
quarters.
placed?
The blaster pistol probably would have been in the same cabinet with the flight suit. I assume there's like a locker or something there.
Yeah, so like not shown on this image, but like maybe here, there's probably like a fairly bulky, boxy like locker. Is there anything else of note about the room?
There's probably like a Starship Parts monthly or something lying open on whatever desk is there. And other than that, it's probably basically as it came because we've only been there like a week.
Would you have had anything else in the room? Like credits or like anything that we see as we move
My
inside?
utility belt would have been there if she hasn't taken it.
Okay. All right. So Roddick and Chen, you move inside. You see exactly what's been described, except there is an open footlocker on the far side of the room. You move towards it. It is empty.
Yeah, I am going to radio. I think I'm going to radio Rayla up and say that it seems something's missing out of her footlocker. And that's what she was keeping in there.
There's like a moment. There's like a moment when Rayla's like, "Oh God."
So, yeah.
Right about this time, Signal.
If you actually calmed me, you just calmed her. So.
Yeah, that is true. I will say you know that, Roddick, that again her comms were taken. You have to comm like the lift or the ship, one or the other.
All right. Yeah, that's a good point. In that case, I'm going to see if I can hail up to. Can I hail this where she's supposed to be, the comm station outside of her ship?
You mean
Well,
no?
I'm just currently sitting in
The entire. You either hail the entire intercom system of the ship, or you hail the lift that you last saw her in.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna not count anybody then, and I'm gonna look to Jen and say that. Do you know how much longer we have in the flight before we're supposed to make target? I wasn't. I'm not sure how many hours we have to go before we're actually going to be in range to.
You guys
Assess backup.
have approximately. Let me bring us back to the map real quick. You guys have approximately like 4 hours. Maybe, yeah, right around 4 hours until you get to Belsavis.
Roddick's going to get on the comms and say that we don't have the manpower for this kind of situation. I don't want one of you people to get killed. Not everybody here has armor against a knife-wielding maniac. I suggest that perhaps we figure out a list of the most vital points on this ship. We seal them off, barricade them, and we just ride it out for 4 hours and get back up once we get into the next system.
Signal, are you, what are you doing during this time?
Basically in between the opening of doors when they request it, I am continuing to search the camera system.
So you're just looking for, like, where she might be?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give me a perception check? I've been letting you roll this for a while, but I just want to give you one last roll. Oh, God.
Jesus Christ.
That one. Oh, God. Wow. That's gonna come into play. I need to find a sound effect.
What? Oh god, I can't believe you rolled a 1, man. That's bad luck.
I have
That's-
not rolled above a fucking 6 at all today.
That's very bad.
I've been either rolling
Got a couple
horrible,
nines.
and then I got 2 nat 20s,
Okay, well,
and then I've been horrible again.
I haven't rolled above a 10 today.
I just love I've had 2 nat 20s randomly in the like worst stretch of rolls we've ever had, and everything else has been ass.
Warning, and this is like coming across your screen like clamps disengaged. Warning, unsafe procedure in hyperspace. Signal, you are taken completely unaware as
Wait,
as
don't they have to request
going across
clamping
your
disengage?
across your screen, you are taken completely unaware, as like another. I think it's not even your terminal. It's like a terminal on Helm, lights up. And yeah, there's a moment you look over and you see that the docking clamps for the Starfighter have released, and it's currently giving a warning: unsafe procedure, extremely dangerous to untether in hyperspace flight.
Rayla, she's on your starship.
What do you do?
I attempt to relock the clamps before she leaves.
So yeah, like you detach from sensors and roll over to Helm.
Yes.
All right, so you roll over to Helm and you see that on Helm control there was like a tiny little box on the bottom of the screen with like a countdown. It's at 0, and it's flashing, and yeah, like you can see that the clamps have disengaged. Give me. That one is. You're too late, man. You can. I think you can see that the ship has most definitely detached from the hull, and like if you look back to sensors, you can see that the fighter has definitely declamped, and everybody can hear a ka-chunk, and the whole ship rocks for a second. And there's a moment where like the sound of the engines almost changed for just a brief pitch, and yeah, like the ship is like literally there parallel to you, like they're traveling at the same speed for a second. What does everybody do?
Can we reattach before we lose it? I'm gonna probably be screaming, and I'm gonna say that I don't think she's on board as I'm making my way up.
I'm going to comm to signal. I'm going to say unlock all the doors. Rayla.
No, I
I'm just
continue
gonna,
doing what I was doing.
I'm going to just comm to the everybody kind of. You know what I mean. I'm going to tell Rayla to head up to the bridge.
So
and me and Roddick are gonna head towards the guns.
So, Signal, what are you doing? This is like a defining moment here. We talked about this last session where you had like a breaking point in your programming. Normally, you cannot resist like the command of like your master. Your master is giving you a command to just unlock all of the doors, and you're like consciously overriding this. Is this like this moment where, like last session, we saw Zeta 3 being attacked? Like that was like the straw that broke the camel's back, and like this is the moment where your independent programming is asserting itself.
Judging by everything else has been on autopilot, I don't know if she's on the ship or not, so I continue doing what I was doing with the doors.
Okay. So you like rush to the door and like basically slam into it if you're trying to go anywhere. Signal, what is it that you are immediately trying to do?
Is it possible to move the ship to reclamp?
Moving a ship in hyperspace is normally impossible in the grand scale. It would be very dangerous if you've failed. Like if something went wrong, you might be able to fine-tune like a few degrees. It would be an act of very precise piloting in order to reattach the clamps. If you did this, it would adjust your hyperspace heading, and things could go wrong. It is feasibly possible, but it would be both difficult and potentially dangerous.
I don't do that.
Okay, so what are you doing?
I just continue monitoring doors. I can't really do anything else.
Okay. So where is everybody else actually going? Like I think Roddick and Chen, are you like running up the hallway?
Yeah, we were gonna head towards like the lift and like basically get on the guns. I think that was kind of my plan.
Okay, so you're running to the lift and you're like signal, like get the lifts down to the
Can I
down to
can I
D-deck.
scan it for life signs? I mean, or is it hyperfocus interfere with that too?
You're gonna have to do one or the other. You're gonna have to either scan this thing for life signs, or concentrate on opening and closing all of the doors individually for everybody moving about the ship. Which do you do? Because you've currently got Chen and Roddick like screaming at you, telling you to open the door from portside crew quarters to the portside main hallway to the portside lift. I think Bunko's probably screaming at you. Like, where are you trying to go, Bunko?
I'm just staying put.
Okay, so Bunko's like essentially doing nothing. How about you, Rayla?
Well, I guess I'll make my way to the bridge because.
Yeah, so
on the
Rayla's-
ship, I can't do anything about it now. And
Rayla's-
if she's not,
Rayla's-
then I can't because it's detached.
Rayla's asking you to override the lift lockouts, so you have people like asking
Well,
you
I have
for
to go to the
permissions on
lift.
stuff.
I have to go to the lift where they are.
You
in
have
order
to
actually
use
go to
the
the
manual
bridge.
lift.
Yeah. So you're actually having to like exit through the interview room or through customs or whatever. So you have people calming you like all at the same time. You can literally only do one of these things at the same time. You can either deal with their requests to move them throughout the ship, or you can attempt to scan for life signs. And you have, 3 or 4 seconds to decide.
I attempt to scan for life signs.
Okay, give me a use computers check.
Go.
The life sign that you were detecting on B deck seems to be fluctuating between A and B deck. Like, as you're looking at it, you're like, wait, what the hell? It seems to be like, then for a moment you realize it's like outside of the ship, and then it actually transfers from A to B deck to the ship, and then back to A to B deck. It seems to be so close to the ship, and there's so much interference that you cannot definitively tell. It is somewhere between B deck, A deck, and the ship, or in the starfighter. It could even be on the hull.
I go back to doing
Okay.
doors.
The lift opens up, and I think like Rayla, you run past Bunko, who's just standing in the hallway. Bunko, do you do anything? Okay, so everybody gets to the lift, and like I think the lift's just about to close with Chen and Roddick in it when like Bunko and Rayla like rush into the room, and I assume you guys like hold the lift for a second.
Absolutely,
And,
absolutely.
Yeah, you guys all rush up.
I'm gonna say that
To the bridge.
there's no way she's on that fighter. I have a plan.
All right, so Signal sends the lift upwards, and you all emerge onto the bridge. Rayla, I'm assuming you're
Actually-
heading to helm.
Actually, rather than I'm gonna see if I can stop the. Actually, I have a question first before I do that. If the airlocks were opened on deck C, would that suck the air out of everything that wasn't sealed? Like, just in general?
That's the point of it being an airlock.
Yeah, but the thing
Even if
is,
it was, like,
all of the
open
doors
completely.
are sealed.
Okay.
It would
so-
just vent the corridor, like this H-shaped corridor right here.
That's actually kind of perfect from what I was thinking, because that would limit her ability to move around a hell of a lot.
So what? This is a time-sensitive
Yeah,
situation. What is
I'm
everybody
going
doing?
to, I'm
People
going
are
to-
exiting the elevator. Roddick, are you like going to communications, or like
I'm
is
gonna see-
Chen going to communications?
I'm going to see
I'm
if I
going
can...
to the.
Go ahead.
I'm
Go
going to the topside ion cannon.
There is no topside ion cannon.
There's
Is
nothing
it
on
on
the
the
top
bottom
side.
side?
It's all
Where
bottom.
where
It's
is
on the
that?
bottom side.
Yeah,
It's on
Very,
the
very
bottom
okay.
side.
That's where I'm going then.
Okay, so you're going down the D deck. Roddick, are you getting off on the bridge or are you going down below?
You know what? I'm gonna get off to the bridge for a second and meet with everybody really quickly before I make any further actions.
How about you, Bunko?
I'll stay with Jin.
Okay, so the lift goes back down.
Roddick's gonna look kind of to the rest of the group for a second, and he's gonna suggest that we get everybody sealed up and we just vent as much of the ship as we can vent. I can go down.
Did you
and
find
deal
my
with her.
flight suit in my quarters?
Unfortunately, not. I think she has it.
Well, if she
but it's
has
not...
it, she didn't use the lift. She could be on the outside of the hull getting to the ship. It's dangerous, but she could try it.
That's gonna make Roddick stop for a second and think. That's actually a very interesting point. We'd have to well, if she's outside of the hull, I'm gonna kind of pause for a second. Then again, who knows what hyperspace madness would do on an already sick mind.
I don't even know.
Let us. Can we
It
pull out
does
of
take
hyperspace?
several minutes of just staring into hyperspace for some people to go mad, but in Star Wars canon, some people like Darth Vader, or like other people could like stare at it for like hours. It's a very weird thing. Like some people could stare at it for minutes and go mad, and some people could stare at it for hours and they were just kind of already weird.
Is there any kind of booster controls we have on board if you were actually EVA or no? I'm guessing probably not.
No, you guys, Rayla had to get mag boots specifically for her suit.
I never did though.
Yeah, like she was talking about it, but she didn't even do it.
Roddick's gonna look at the situation and say, well,
Like you guys have hand rungs along the top of the ship, and there are tether cords. If you guys remember at the end of Empire Strikes Back, there's a moment where like Lando's on the top of the Falcon and he has like a tether with a carabiner. Like there's stuff like that attached to the top of the ship where you can basically climb around and occasionally tether yourself for safety in case you lose your handhold.
yeah, Roddick's gonna turn to the others and say, I still think that's the only option we have. Give everybody up here. We'll fortify the place, then we'll just vent everything else. If she's outside of the hull,
Have you accounted for all spacesuits?
He has
No.
mine.
negative. She has
Then
one.
venting does nothing.
She's not armored. I am. One
doesn't-
shot to her suit, and it's gonna be bad. But he pauses and says,
Venting
"What's your
if
plan
she
then,
has
Rayla?
my suit, venting the air does nothing. She can survive for like over 24 hours with just that.
What's your plan then, Rayla?" I'm gonna ask, and
Signal, what are you doing
Crossfire.
during this long conversation? Are you just
Continuing to look at
occasionally
cameras.
responding to them?
Yes, I mean, I don't know what else to do.
Okay.
I guess check
But
the
you're
computer
at the
system to see what
sensors
else she fucked
terminal. You're at sensors
I can
terminal
drop
though.
it out of hyperspace, but we'll lose the fighter.
Can you give me a use computers roll signal?
try not to lose the fighter, Rayla. I'm gonna comment and motion over there and say, if we can get it back, let's do it. I do not believe she's on board.
By this time, Chen, you have made it to the dorsal. I guess it's ventral. That's the lower side. The ventral ion turret. It's a big ball gun down at the lower chin level of the ship. Again, it's only a one-person turret, so I think Bunko probably has to like stand just outside unless you're going to one of the other guns. It covers the entire bottom 180-degree arc almost. Like it's not entirely flawless, but it was a conscientious decision you guys made. You run in and you strap into the turret, Chen. What do you do? Do you have anything you say to the crew, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna come up to the bridge and let them know that I'm on the ion gun if we need to disable the fighter.
We're in hyperspace. I have no clue how that is. I have no clue how combat. Like hyperspace combat in hyperspace never happens in Star Wars. I don't know how that's handled. At all.
Well, the fighter's still like in our hyperspace envelope, kind of, right?
Yeah, but you can't turn around. Like, as I was telling Signal, it's not even really a thing in Star Wars to adjust your course in hyperspace. I said he could do it, but it would adjust where you randomly pop out in hyperspace, and it would be very potentially dangerous if something bad happened during your roll. Like if you were to try to just roll the belly of the ship to get a shot. But regardless, Signal, you I think you start to you get a, let's see here. I'm trying to think of the chain of events. What do you guys think the primary systems terminal would be? Sensors, helm, astrogation, or communications?
For systems, it's
Yeah, like ships, local ship systems. I'm torn between helm and sensors.
I'd guess helm.
I would say
Astrogation
sensors.
is a use computer check.
I'm not talking about what those things might be for a check. I'm talking about what would, like, local systems information primarily be routed through.
Probably comms.
Really?
That would probably display everything, I would imagine. He's not doing anything else while he's talking.
I would say sensors would be
Well-
sensing everything.
Probably all three can probably display them. It's just what each person's actually doing, because they're all use computer checks.
I'm not talking about checks, man.
Well, I would think it would
Like
be on
whose
the helm.
Normally-
primary job is it of those 4 stations to monitor the ship's systems?
It normally would be the co-pilot, but there doesn't seem to be a place for that on this ship.
That would probably be astrogation then. So Rayla,
But if
you're
there
at
isn't a co-pilot, the pilot will get that data.
yeah.
pilot
So
would be
Rayla,
regardless, probably.
you're at the helm, and I need you to make a use computers check instead. Sorry, Signal. I think
Can I
you said that
assist
you
her?
were just no, you're not actively assisting. You're like looking through cameras is what you said you were doing. Ooh, okay, yeah,
That's
you do
been
get this
this
information a
whole
little
thing.
late. Rayla, what are you trying to do at helm? Like,
I don't care what the consequences are. I want to try to reclamp my fighter. I want that.
ooh, okay, so you're like maybe in the process of trying to figure out how this could be done. When like maybe you're trying to think of like what the procedure might be because you've never maneuvered in hyperspace. Is that a thing you might be trying to do?
Probably. But maneuvering in hyperspace definitely is not something I think is normally
Yeah.
done.
You see a red light like wink on one of your terminal instruments.
I look at it.
You see warning overheat in sublight manifold, which is odd because your sublight engine should not be active right now.
Okay. I don't know. They should not be on at all in hyperspace.
Which is what I just said.
I think she did something to the sublights. I don't know if they'll be working or not. You get an overheat light for it.
What would happen if we went back to sublight and they're not working? I'm going to yell with a bit of a excited tone if you pipe this over the radio.
We only have hyperspace to get anywhere. Without sublights, we can't actually maneuver in actual space.
Good thing we didn't take it out then.
If the sunlight is overheating, it might be on.
We don't want it to have a. We don't want it. To
You
cause
don't want it
any
to be
greater
on
problem.
in hyperspace.
Let's see if we can get it disabled. And if we need a tow,
Well,
when we
just
get
turn
there,
it
we'll
off.
get a tow.
I mean,
But I would
Turn
need
off.
the
You have
sublights
those-
to make
you
maneuvers
have-
to get the ship
then
back.
turn it back on again when you get out of hyperspace. I
Turning it
mean,
off sounds good to me.
Well,
I'm
I
gonna
can't. If we
comment.
drop out hyperspace, we lose the fighter. It is.
Another warning light blinks on during this rather heated argument.
I make the maneuver
comms,
check
or
that's
is it
required
just-
to get the fighter. I don't care what the roll is.
2 of them are arguing, and one of them is arguing over comms.
I just turn off the damn engine.
I'm going to say I agree with B in this case. Turn off the engine.
Another warning light blinks on it this time. Warning, unstable development in hyperdrive manifold. Yeah, like if you look at the systems display, you're gonna need to give me I think probably a mechanics check if you're gonna try to diagnose what exactly is happening. There seems to be some sort of overload moving from the sublight manifold into the hyperdrive. It was why you were getting a warning about your sublight overheating. There is definitely something very wrong down in the engine room. This is the sort of thing that would be very bad to happen in any space, but especially hyperspace.
I sigh heavily, and I drop the ship out of hyperspace, however that takes.
Okay, so you're gonna try to drop the ship out of hyperspace. Let me see here. All right, yeah, you're able to drop out of hyperspace if you so want. Yeah, it's like giving you it's screaming warnings, that there's something wrong with the hyperdrive if you do this, unscheduled drop from hyperspace. Your finger hovers over the button. Roddick, you're on the bridge as this is happening, and you can see that she is in the process of aborting the hyperspace field or hyperspace jump. Does anybody do you say anything? You have a moment before she does it.
I'm definitely, if I see this, something that I would put together. I don't know if it's something I would put together or understand, though. Should I roll for that, or would I understand it?
Well, you can see that she has brought up a screen that's abort hyperspace.
I'll turn to her and say that I wish we could get your fighter back, Rayla, but I don't know what to do in this case. If we don't want to,
If we can't actually maneuver to get it back, we'll destroy the ship. It's already lost. If we don't do it now, we're stuck in hyperspace forever.
I don't want to be stuck in hyperspace forever with that thing we have on board. I'm going to almost kind of growl out thing, and I'm just going to. I tell Lorayla that I'm going to leave this up to her and Signal in this case. This is beyond my understanding.
It's warning, hyperspace manifold at 32%.
If had every other problem, can I see?
To me, there was no deliberation in the first place. I would just push the button.
All right, you push the button.
Okay, all right.
Make the call, Ricky.
You guys drop out of hyperspace, and the entire ship just shakes. Everybody who's not strapped in flies into the nearest bulkhead, control panel, table, whatever it is, and the entire ship just shakes like it's being shook like a rat shaken by a terrier. There's this massive crash, and suddenly you guys revert to real space.
I'm gonna just sigh as that happens and ask, how long does it look before we can get back mobile again?
I have to check that. And I don't know if our prisoner was still attached to the ship or not, but that's not gonna be pretty for her if she was. I think if we were slowed to the front of the ship.
There's no chance of that, Rookie. She's trying to trap us here with her. I'm just gonna turn and check my shotgun chamber to make sure it's ready. Of course, she doesn't know that she doesn't know what's really going on. I'm gonna kind of look over to Rayla and say that she's trapped herself in here with us.
Unless she was already on my ship.
There's no way, he comments. The person like that, they want to kill, they don't want to die.
All right, so
Regardless, I'll have to get down to the engine to check that. I don't know how long it'll
everybody is intimately aware that they are no longer in hyperspace, especially you, Chen, because suddenly your bubble canopy, which was really starting to give you like nausea from just seeing the twirling mass of hyperspace, like reverts to real space, and you can just see the blackness of space and white specks of stars of deep space. Does anybody like calm the bridge?
I'm gonna calm up to Signal and say, scan the ship for life signs and give me a count.
Scan the ship again.
Okay, now that you're not in hyperspace, just make a use computers check. Wow, your rolls have been terrible. You are reading 4 life signs.
Only 4 life signs on board.
Roddick's not buying it, and I'm gonna say that does that include the outside of the ship? What if she was on the hull, like someone mentioned earlier?
Possible 5th life sign was possibly on outside of hull. Not detectable now.
Roddick just kind of nods slightly, but does not buy it, and says, "I still want everyone to stay alert until we are in dock and have this ship thoroughly inspected by technicians at the facility we're headed to. How long until we can get back underway?"
Who knows? I'll have to get down to the engine and check it.
Yeah, so
Everybody
you're like,
moves in pairs.
are you like
I-
unstrapping from your seats and like leaving the bridge now?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, Rayla, you get up like, just like this horrible feeling in your gut. Your ship gone. And yeah, you get to the lift. Signal, are you going with her to assess the damage?
I'm trying to figure out what the fuck she did to the computer system.
Okay. What exactly are you trying to do?
Look for changes to code, all that stuff.
Okay, so you're like paranoid, just like diagnosing the entire mainframe.
Yeah.
Okay, that's gonna take quite some time. This is like basically like a full antivirus search, which might, like full spectrum search of every file. You know how long that takes? Like it might take a couple hours. Are you prepared to do that?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Give me a use computers check then, and this is going to be your action for the next several hours. That's a very good roll. All right, so Rayla unstraps from the seat and goes to the lift. Roddick, are you leaving the bridge?
I am going to go with whoever is going to do repairs because I do not trust the situation whatsoever until
Yeah,
we've
so
had a
you
proper inspection.
You go with Rayla. You guys head down to C deck. How about Bunko and Chen? You guys are like down there in your turrets in real space. Is anybody like?
I'm unstrapping from the turret and I'm heading to the lift and just going up to the bridge.
Okay. Signal, are you still keeping all of the systems locked down?
Yes.
Like all the doors? All right. So you have to like occasionally interrupt your scan to do this. So you're heading up to the bridge, Chen. How about you, Bunko?
I'll follow Jin for now.
Okay. All right. You guys can move your icons as you wish. So, you make your way down to engine access, and the door opens to the acrid smell of burning wires, plastic, and metal. Roddick, you're there as well. There's no like actual fire or anything, but something is most definitely wrong in here. And you can definitely trace the source just by the smell to an area, definitely within the engines. Can you give me a I'm gonna say another mechanics check, Rila, for diagnosis, like an actual specific diagnosis. Oh man,
I knack it.
you haven't knacked today?
I have not. I was saving
Wow,
it for the.
I would have thought you would have knacked out of that door.
I was
Yeah,
saving
go
it for
ahead.
the pile up top for the pile check to get the fighter back, but I never got a chance to do it.
Yep.
God, I can't believe how many ones we've seen today.
Yep.
Man, I think she improved the engines.
Um.
That was a good knack.
Yeah, that is. I need to look at something. I'm hoping is still noted on your sheet, Rila.
And the dice have been pretty ass. It's been pretty funny.
Yep. Our dice were pretty ass, and her dice apparently were pretty good.
She rolled a nat 20 on one thing. Actually, one thing today and one thing the last session. All right, Rayla, that's still a very good roll. I am. Huh. I'm going to say you are getting a slight negative modifier, though, because you are really distraught over the fate of your ship. It is intrinsically linked to your destiny. Yeah, so it takes a little bit of time, and I think, Roddick, you're there, like, kind of supervising. It becomes very clear to you, Rayla, that some small amount of explosives were applied to the manifold here in such a way to cause an overload. It wasn't even like a giant, like an explosion. It was just the more that you're looking at it, looks like it was a very, very minute amount. Not like a tactical job. It's like someone knew where, if something went wrong, it would really screw up the ship, and they just put a little bit of explosives on it. Where on earth they got access to explosives? Who would ever know? It looks like there was something attached to the link up between the hyperdrive and the sublight drive, to where it caused like a looping overload that built up in the sublight drive, which would normally not have been a problem in hyperspace, but like apparently it went off and it built up a charge, and it started to overload the hyperdrive. And it wasn't like a catastrophic thing, but like there's a lot of circuits that are fried here, a lot of power couplings that are going to have to be like kind of replaced or at least fixed. It's going to take several hours of work at the very least. It's not destroyed by any means, but clearly someone with some knowledge of starship engines definitely took your ship offline. It also seems that well, I don't think you would know that. Never mind.
me. Roddick did.
Yep.
Looks like she set off some explosives on some of the couplers. It apparently set off a cascading failure.
Explosives?
Yeah.
I immediately checked my grenades. I thought I was the only one that had explosives on this ship.
Didn't the Mandalorians give some to Bunko?
Yeah, make a. I was gonna let you make like another intelligence check with advantage this time, but since Rayla finally remembered it, yeah, there were some explosives gifted to you guys by the Mandalorians.
I think I might tap the radio and say, Agent B, it seems the prisoner used your explosives to cripple our ship, and I think you might owe Rayla a new starship. Over.
I think whoever threw a damn stun grenade at me should give her a starship. Over.
Roddick's just going to make a note in his pad about filing more reports. I'm sure it's going to be hilarious every time we pull on the port. Agent B and Roddick file reports on each other. It's great.
Well, I guess a good start. It might take some time to get it fixed, if we even have the parts.
You have the parts. Nothing was utterly destroyed. It looked like, I'm gonna say with the roll that you made, it looks like it was very hastily done. Like it was someone with a lot of knowledge, but someone with not a lot of time. They didn't utterly destroy the engine. It's just gonna take some time to fix. So, what does everybody do? Is everybody still paranoid lockdown on the ship, or?
I want to talk to Roddick. Wait, is Roddick? Where is Roddick?
He's down in the engine room, supervising Rayla.
I want to calm Roddick then and tell him that while the engines are being repaired, if he wants to go out and check the hull, he's welcome to do it.
Not without a good pair of mag boots, Jen. I'd only go out there if I absolutely had to. No way to get me back on this rig at the moment.
Technically, you're currently stationary, so unless you kicked away from the hull, you would only float away at whatever
somebody
speed
pushed me,
you're at.
I would never be able to correct it, and as far as I can tell, we
Yeah.
don't have any way to come after me, really. So
Nobody would ever do that. During the course of your diagnostic signal, you're able to determine that nothing was specifically done to your system. A series of very simple subroutines were set up. One of them was a timer set to launch the escape pods. It was like apparently triggered to I guess it was set to trigger an emergency subroutine that was like already in the ship's systems that was like to trigger an emergency launch of the escape pods. It was set on a timer that was supposed to go off at a certain time. There was another timer that was set to decouple the ship. And the only other thing you can find is that I think those are the only changes made in the systems. Like, I don't know that you're if you're going through systems logs, it's apparent that somebody came in and unlocked the doors, but people have done that. Like, Rayla came up and unlocked several doors. There was at one point somebody just unlocked all of the doors on the ship. Without really delving into too much detail about what you're hunting, I can't tell you too much more than that. It doesn't seem like there's malware on the ship.
Very interesting.
So, I'm going to assume over the next several hours, people do what they're going to tell me next. So, Signal discovers there's no malware on the ship's computer system. Rayla makes some headway on the hyperdrive fixing, and then the sublight drive. Is there any what are you guys doing?
I'm going to ask Jen if he's had any luck running through the security footage to trace like step by step of what she's done yet, or if we weren't able to get any footage out of that.
Nobody's ever actually done that.
Yeah, I have not been doing that.
So I'm gonna ask you if you maybe can take a look at that. That seems
Okay,
like something
so-
you'd be good at.
Are you like searching the ship room by room while this is going on, or are you still standing watch over Rayla? Roddick?
I am going to be standing watch over Rayla.
Okay.
Anybody doing repairs?
Okay, so at the end of several hours, you guys have this to show for it. Rayla, can you please give me a mechanics check? You are able to restore the reserve hyperdrive. I think you guys have one.
Most ships do. I'm sure one this big does. It's probably like a times 16 or something really slow.
It's a times 10. And you're able to get the sublight back online, but it too is heavily impaired. For everybody who's not up to date on ship systems, you guys normally have a times 2 hyperdrive. Anywhere you're going to go, you normally take the normal time that they give you and multiply it times 2 because you're a little bit slower. Like it's generally assumed that most ships do not have a times 1 hyperdrive. That's like military grade, super fast. A times 10 is a small hyperdrive, generally saved for backup. It wasn't damaged per se, but you had to route it to make sure that it was like safe. It's workable, but it will take 10 times the normal time to get you pretty much anywhere you want to go. So if something was 24 hours away, it would take 10 days to get there. You might make a good navigation roll and eat a few days off of that time, but a backup hyperdrive is not good. Yeah, you are only able to restore the backup hyperdrive with your skill as a mechanic, and you're able to restore like maybe I'm gonna say like maybe probably like 50% sublight capacity. Signal is absolutely confident. There's no malware on the servers. In Chen, you get the following record of events. I think there's like multiple shots from different security feeds, and I think like maybe you would share this with everybody else probably. So like maybe everybody is watching this on display down in the mess hall. As like Chen is presenting as evidence is what has happened.
At this point, actually, I think I'd just kind of be brooding and keeping things to myself, basically.
Even if you have evidence that she is no longer aboard the ship?
If I have evidence she's no longer aboard the ship, I'm just gonna say she's no longer aboard the ship, and...
What if people ask you?
I can, like, point them kind of... I'll just tell them about, like, the security footage and say they can look it up themselves.
Okay. I'm assuming Roddick's going to want to see the footage, so we're going to go with what I was going to say, because there's no way people are just going to accept Chen brooding after what's happened.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go take a look at the footage if you point me to it.
Yeah. So there's a shot of I think this is like an especially embarrassing because everybody's in the mess hall, and you see Bunko sneaking into the med room, and having her altercation with the droid. You see like Roddick down there in the cell, like outside of the room, with the prisoner, and then like you see him raise his hand to his helmet, and immediately run out of the door, and head to the lift and head upstairs. And we get like the entire scene where there's like a flashbang grenade thrown, and like on a parallel screen you see like I think everybody like converging through various cameras all on the same location, and then like on a second screen you just see the prisoner, and like as soon as Roddick leaves the room, she's not doing anything. But as soon as the flashbang goes off, she looks up, and she does something with the cuffs, and they just fall right off. It looks like maybe she had already gotten them loose, and she was waiting for an opportunity. Then she goes to an area of the cell, and I would like everybody to make an intelligence check, please.
Absolutely.
Oh, 20, that's good enough. Roddick rolled a nat 20. Roddick, this was the exact area of the wall where she was sitting in a very odd position. She had her back on the cot, and she had her feet up against the wall. Nobody noticed it at the time. People got terrible perception rolls, and she rolled really well on her deceptions when she was rolling it. And again, these were different rolls. She had basically 2 chances to fuck up, and you guys still didn't catch it. She does something in this area of the wall where she was like, you just remember that she was doing something with her feet, and like it just strikes you that like, what the hell, like, what is this? And a panel comes off of the wall, and she crawls out of her cell and into the cell next door. Like it's almost like she couldn't even really fit through this thing. Like you see her like scrunch her shoulder and like painfully contort through this like tiny hole in the wall. It looks like she was able to like pull like some part of the like the venting or something out of there, but it doesn't look like a normal vent. She slips through. It's obviously she skinned herself fairly badly going through, and she drops down into the other cell, and quickly makes her way out of the door. Piecing together camera footage, you next see her entering the room just outside of the detention cells, the workshop. You see her disappear from view, but essentially, like a few moments later, like you're pretty sure you see movement with a shadow in the corner, like behind a workbench or something, and like roughly 2 or 3 minutes later, you see Rayla walk in. And we see the events of Rayla walking into the detention cells from behind, and you see Rayla standing there, and Twi'lek crouching down from behind, sneaking in, placing her hand on Rayla's comlink, and like Rayla puts her hand down, and she rips the comlink off of her, and she boots her into the force field, and then immediately closes the door. She rushes into the lift and takes it up. The next bit of kind of pieced together footage shows her moving through deck B. Actually, no, it shows her getting off the lift onto the bridge, and going to one of the terminals here on the bridge. It shows her there for some time. Like maybe like a minute and a half. She seems to be doing something here. You can't exactly tell what. Then she takes the lift down to deck B. And you see her moving through deck B, and she makes her way to Rayla's room. There's no cameras in Rayla's room, but she exits, and then the next camera time you catch her, she's making her way into Bunko's room, and from there she makes her way into the starboard lift. There's basically footage of her taking the lift up to the very top of the ship, and then that's the last you catch sight of her.
Okay, that's very interesting. Roddick's going to look over all of that and say that it is convincing that she's off the ship, but we were convinced she was safe in that cell as well. I still want to maintain alert until we can get there. It's only a few hours away once we're underway.
Roddick should file a complaint about the producers of security cells. If
Oh,
someone
yeah,
with no
totally,
tools can
yeah.
open up a panel on the wall.
Yeah, I'm totally going to actually invest money in reinforcing ourselves, I think, in the next at our next stop. Gonna grumble about sector rangers gypping us on our resources.
People really fail their perception checks. And
It's just I didn't do stuff like that because I didn't think it was even possible.
Yeah,
the
we know
thing
it's
is,
possible.
nobody really thought to ask, and nobody would have had a reason to. But there's a section of the ship that was rebuilt because it was partially destroyed. If you recall, you guys got a used ship, and used ships have quirks.
Yep, that's how I figured it was.
Remember, like, some people thought that I was gonna like have hyperdrive malfunctions at some random point because, oh, that's the worst thing the GM could throw at us. Just because that's what you thought doesn't
like,
mean
the
it.
security field
Don't even
come
bother.
down. Whatever.
Your
have to get some
like the
shield
quirk of
generators.
your ship is there are certain areas of the ship that have been rebuilt, and some of them have been shoddily rebuilt.
Shitty ass contractors.
That's
More
what happens
complaints
when you
from
get
the
like
Sector Rangers
like a
quartermaster.
like a 300,000 credit ship. Like,
Yeah,
you guys
I mean,
got
it
a
makes
really
sense. We have a
huge,
junker.
powerful ship. Like, I wouldn't be complaining about your ship when you guys took down those 3 ships and just blew them up. So, what do you all do?
I'm investing a significant amount of money in upgrading ourselves. Yeah, that's
Well,
Well,
probably
we're
ain't got the
nowhere near
money.
a civilization
They
just
ain't gonna
yet,
pay us.
so
let's just keep our
Where you
guard
wanna
up,
go?
get the ship back underway, and get to our destination, and let them know that unfortunately their prisoner was lost forever in hyperspace. If
No,
that's what's
no.
happened.
The prisoner is in a functional ship with hyperspace ability.
I think there's
Regular
probably
ship.
a pause when Roddick realizes what Signal's saying.
Yeah, there's going to be quite
Yeah,
a pause. And
as
then I'm
long
gonna
as you have a
immediately ask if there's
hyperdrive-
some way to track it.
As long as you have a hyperdrive, you can basically exit hyperspace.
I'm immediately going to pull up her profile as the realization kind of hits Roddick, which is not a spaceship guy, so maybe that didn't occur to him at first. And immediately pull her profile up and see if we can figure out what planet or where she might be headed, because I think we're going to have to go after her as soon as we get it fixed, rather than continuing on if I'm convinced she is in fact fleeing now that I've realized the situation.
Roddick, wherever she goes, she's gonna be 10 days ahead of you. We have
People
a
like-
times 10 backup.
I think I'm going to cross my arms and say 10 days is better than no days. A person like that, she might be very crafty, but she's probably just going to find some place to sit down and attack homeless in alleyways or something. I don't expect her to be a mastermind as far as obtaining new identities. Then he pauses. Then again, I didn't expect her to be able to use explosives either. She's full of surprises.
With my ship, if she has it, if she's dedicated enough to actually stay in the cockpit that long, she can get basically anywhere she wants to go.
You do know that she is currently on course to Belsavis. If she wants to change course, she's either going to have to do it when she gets to Belsavis, or she is going to have to drop course along a linear route from your current position to Belsavis, and then calculate a new position, a new hyperspace route from there. That's still a lot of course, but again, I think it does help you just a little bit in determining where exactly she currently is, at least, or where she could be.
I'm going to cross my arms and I'm going to turn to Jen, and I'm going to say, something doesn't add up to me, though. Her dossier, she kills everyone, knife attacks, very primal type of inmate. Yet, she had the drop on one of her agents, and didn't actually do anything aside from lock her in his cell. It has demonstrated commando-level abilities at hacking, piloting, I'm going to pause for a second, and I'm going to say, I don't think we were given all the details on this one.
Most notably, there was no hacking involved.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
People just left the system open.
I was
We
going to say
weren't-
that
We weren't given the details. We weren't given the proper equipment. This mission was a bust from the get-go.
it's still on us. We need to try and make it right. I'm going to cross my arms and look over the profile. But
Well,
needless to say,
if she
something
was
doesn't
bound
sit
for
right here.
Belsavis, she would have arrived in 4 hours. It'll take us 40 hours just to complete the journey there.
Can I attempt to improve upon Rayla's work?
You can. I will say, if you botch, it will undo her work.
What kind of news reports and stuff would we have on the computers here, or would we not have anything
None
until we
right
got
now,
to work?
and
How does that
Belsavis
work?
doesn't have HoloNet.
You don't have, like, you mean stored in memory?
I'm trying to find out about her actual entire history. I want to take another look at it. Something's not setting right with me.
You would have had to actually have accessed it before you left.
All right,
All that
I'll
you have
definitely
on
keep that
her
on,
is just what's attached with her file.
I will keep that on ice until the situation comes up then.
I mean, like, you could take a second look at her file and see if there's anything that stands out, but yeah, you can't surf the HoloNet.
That makes complete sense.
Miss
So,
Rayla,
yeah.
what is wrong with the hyperdrive?
She fused some conduits together. I did best I could, but I only managed to prepare the backup hyperdrive.
Like
Um,
the eye, like kind of like ours is closed on you. We shall see.
Yeah, like,
Is
most of the
Agent B here
damage
with
was
us?
really the conduits and not the drives themselves.
Is B here up with us at the second in the bridge?
I think you guys are actually all in the mess hall, or
I'm gonna- oh, yeah,
like,
okay.
yeah, around, you know, the general conference room.
I am going to motion over to B and ask if she has any experience with forged documents.
Yes.
I want you to look over the prisoner's dossier. I want to see if it itself is a forgery.
All right.
Like thinking you might be getting jerked around by some sort of high-level military prisoner that they gave
Miss
us a load of
Rayla,
crap for.
come with me.
Very well.
I go down to the engine room.
You want me to roll anything, Star?
Can I
Um,
assist him? I don't know if that would actually even work, but I'm not very good at this sort of thing.
Give me a second to figure out what you're going to be rolling, but you can.
Just the fact she didn't stab Rayla in the back when she had an opportunity is absolutely counter to everything I read about her, combined with everything else. It's definitely giving him that nagging feeling.
I know there has to be something for forging documents.
It's probably perception, being that disguises forging documents.
Yeah. All right. Give me a perception check, Ronick, to see if you can successfully aid Bunko.
Infinitely glad I took that as a skill.
That's a success. So you get a +2 on your roll, Bunko.
I can re-roll this. I'll keep it.
Sure, you don't want to reroll. Yeah. Okay. So you're pouring through like her file basically. And Signal, I think you're probably down there looking over the destruction as well. Can you what are you exactly trying to do?
I want to diagnose what exactly is broken and then attempt a fix.
All right, mechanics roll, please.
So the first mechanics is for diagnosis. That gives a +2.
Ooh. Yeah. It definitely seems like there were some kind of fairly surgical charges placed here on the conduits here. Curiously, no charges placed on the actual like hyperdrive or the drive itself. the sublight drive, or even the backup drive. It's just like, if you wanted to disable a ship but not destroy it, this would be how you did it. You can most definitely repair this stuff. Do you want to give me a repair roll?
Miss Rayla, if you will hold these conduits.
Maybe Marilla thinks twice for a second, noting that she's been electrocuted twice today, but do you go ahead?
I've already lost my starship. It can't get much worse.
All right, roll a check, but at a -2. I'll be right back.
Unfortunately, I probably won't roll a 19. Roll. That with the -2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an assist if that's what you wanted. I'll be back.
Okay, yeah, it's a successful assist, but just barely.
Does knowing exactly what's wrong give me any kind of bonus?
Makes the check easier. It doesn't give you
Okay.
a bonus. Effectively the same thing, though. Good thing you know that exactly what the problem is. You're able to restore functionality to the primary drive. It is still going to need repairs. It is currently unreliable. But you do now have access to the ×2 hyperdrive. And I think your sublight speed, the engine itself is only mildly damaged by the overload. Probably like 85%. So really, really high functionality. It's just you're going to have to keep an eye on the hyperdrive. If you use it too much, you might have to fix it again. It's kind of a temporary solution at best. Good job, though. In regards to your looking over the documents, I think like you're on one end of the conference table, and
There's a blip over comms. I have restored the primary hyperdrive. It will need further repairs, but should be functional.
I'm going to immediately respond back. Get ready to punch it. We need to catch up to this person, whatever the situation.
So Bunko, you and Roddick are there in the conference room poring over the documents and like the records. Now that kind of Roddick has turned you on to like, is this person who they say they are? You're looking over it. Everything looks completely legitimate, except for one thing. I think you're looking through things. I think it's probably two things. Maybe three things. You're looking through things, and you realize that there is a substantial lack of actual photographic imagery of this person, except for their actual file record. It matches the person who you've seen, but it's very curious. Like, now that you're looking through it, like you've seen kind of dossiers even on prisoners and stuff. This, like, you've never seen one with just one picture before. So that kind of strikes a warning bell in your mind. That like, you know, there's like something kind of off. There's a second thing that's a little bit off. It looks like the transfer to Belsavis was fairly abrupt. It looks like her detention was fairly abrupt as well. You guys didn't really ask about the circumstances regarding her capture. You're pouring through it, and it looks like the whole process was really, really quick, even given the general. And like, while you guys might complain about it, the bureaucracy of the sector rangers is still a lot faster than pretty much everybody else. Comparatively, from the time she was captured to the time she was like convicted and sent off, it was a very brief amount of time, like weeks, like 2 weeks. That's super short. It appears like there's very kind of scant detail about the operation in which she was captured. Apparently, there was a sting operation. Like somebody had apparently figured out where she was going to be next, and had been able to set up a trap, and they had managed to take her in without any casualties. Again, a little bit odd given the apparently bloody nature of the prisoner. So I think, the first thing was there's like very little photographic evidence given in the file of of this prisoner, just the one. The second is that this whole process was sped up very quickly. And the third was that, how do I phrase this? Oh god, I just lost my train of thought on this one. This was the most important one. That's not good. Oh shit. My mind just blanked. Not good.
I've been there, man. It's frustrating as hell. I have had that. Don't feel too bad. It is the worst when you have something really important for the story and you can't remember what the hell it is.
Curiously, they were able to take her in without any casualties. Something you're seeing in here is that there's like not a lot of like side documents to it. Like it looks like there was not a lot of publicity surrounding her capture. You're not able to access the HoloNet to really verify this, but she was a fairly high-profile killer, and it doesn't really talk anything at all about like liaison meetings with the news or anything like that. You get the feeling that like for some reason this was kept very quiet. This whole thing strikes you as really off. You can't determine why. You get the feeling that maybe these documents might not be forged, but your overall determination is the person in your cargo bay or your prison cell might not have actually been the person you were supposed to deliver.
Okay. There's nothing about any kind of collusions with other people and stuff like that.
Oh, there's like, if you're looking for details like that, there's plenty of information that seems to indicate that she has contacts on, of all places, Coruscant. Like that's apparently where she grew up. If you're looking through her file, it seems to indicate that she grew up in a fairly high-profile gang there, and that her brother or something. The file's not very specific. She just has like familial ties, maybe. Yeah, like she has ties to a gang back on Coruscant. That's where she grew up, and that was where she kind of started her killing spree. And she's been all over the galaxy since then. But that was the only place she was ever known to stay for any long period of time. Like after that, she was just moving. She certainly doesn't have any other known associates.
Does it name the source of who basically entrapped her or gave information about where to?
That seems to be classified.
All right. It sort of looks like this person was assuming another identity, and the real killer is out there still.
Why would you? I wonder why they would have assumed the identity of a killer for someone that wasn't them. This is very. I'm just going to kind of scratch my head and say this is not what I was expecting. I think we should inform the others as soon as possible. Fill them into all of this. This is outside of the norm, and I think we need to get a hold of Sector Ranger Command if we can strike up a comms with them as soon as we are in range.
In order to do that, you're going to have to get to a system with a holonet access.
Yep.
The prison planet doesn't have that access.
No.
We need to go after her regardless. So I'm going to I think that I'm going to probably patch in on the comms to everybody and say that we need to have a meeting. Agent B has discovered some very interesting things.
I guess I go back up to the bridge.
Yep. It takes some hard work, but the ship is now operational. And you all meet up on the bridge. What do you guys decide to do?
Concord, you wished a meeting.
Yep, I'm going to forward and say Agent B has discovered a very unfortunate fact. The prisoner that we were transporting wasn't who we were told that they were. And I'm going to kind of raise my arm back to kind of give B the floor if she wants to flavor this in any way.
I think before that happens, there's a chirp on the, I think probably your comlink, Roddick.
I will answer.
Officer Roddick, this is Zeta 3, locked in the medical bay. I have some potentially disturbing information that I need to address to you very, very quickly.
Go ahead.
There's like a pause. Is this line secure?
Is this line secure?
Other than talking in the room.
Is it? Everybody's on the room.
Well, I mean, like, am I hearing like Zeta 3 through my helmet comm? Like, can
Yeah.
the room hear them, or can they room hear her, or
No, nobody
just
else
me?
can hear him. Just
Okay,
just
so-
your helmet.
So yeah, I'll nod. Yeah, go ahead.
I have received results from my blood analysis of the prisoner, as well as my additional tissue analysis taken from complications from the exam. I have concluded that there are no unusual foreign drugs in the prisoner's body. However, there are remnants from a compound commonly used in extensive or commonly used in the recovery from extensive surgery, often administered over the course of weeks. This compound is only available or only detectable in trace amounts currently, and seems to be mostly faded from the prisoner's system. There is inconclusive but trace evidence of significant surgical operation to the prisoner, although it may be the result of significant injury.
I'm going to pause for a second and say I do not believe it's a result from that at all. Continue. What did you find exactly?
There's extensive scarring across the prisoner's body. Some appear to be the result from blaster contusions. Typical wounds gained in the line of work of most criminals and the like. There is also extensive scarring, micro scars across the prisoner's facial regions and various scars across the skeletal. I guess like how would you describe? Probably doesn't run up to the leku. It's probably literally just the face area. Yeah. So yeah, he basically just describes like the facial region.
I'm going to nod and say that I'm going to need to share this information with the crew, but
Whatever
I do
you
appreciate
deem
your
is
assistance.
appropriate.
I'm going to disable my comms, and I'll turn and say that it seems she was surgically altered to look like our criminal. And I'm going to sit down and say that our medical droid just called up and said that the blood sample confirmed it, and she's had surgery as well. I'm going to look at everybody else and say, how do you want to go about this? I still think we have a job to do. We're supposed to transport the criminal. We need to get the criminal back. But there's certainly more to this, and I don't know why we've been told a lot of miscommunications. Perhaps we can sort this out once we're at an official facility.
It may be unimportant. Or she kicked me into the cell when she closed the door. She told me that she was sorry.
She gave you an apologetic look.
Oh, I thought she actually said it. But
Boddick nods and says, that's why I started thinking this. Everything I read about our prisoner, she would have slit your throat. Speaking of which, you need to be careful about that, rookie.
Shannon's gonna say this whole thing was a goddamn setup, and they gave her to us just to let her escape, and you all played right into it.
Well, there's still the matter of why we were distracted in the first place. I'm kind of glancing at Agent B and say, this has been a very unusual trip. To be entirely honest, I think it's going to take about a year to sort through the paperwork that we're going to have once we finally get somewhere.
Rayla, what is the range of your starship?
it carries a week's provisions and has a ×1 hyperdrive. She can probably get just about anywhere if she's willing to stay in the cockpit that long.
Does your ship have the necessary biological function support? I understand you biologics have these.
Not necessarily. I said if she's willing to stay in the cockpit that long.
Unlikely.
I'm going to kind of pause and say, it's not like she hasn't been through that before. Kind of look at Jen for a second, and then kind of glance at everybody else. If she really is some sort of super agent, she won't care about that sort of thing. She'll accomplish the mission. And someone like this, they're either very, very criminal or something else entirely. I don't have any idea where to even start with that until we've actually gotten the chance to look at the evidence.
Do you have authorization to put out a bulletin for the starship?
Without HoloNet access, we could do that if we wanted to.
Turn to Jen and see if we have it once we actually do get to
HoloNet access? No, we don't have HoloNet access there either.
If you did have HoloNet access, you could put out a bulletin on it.
Jen's going to
The Naboo
suggest...
N1 starfighter is not a common starfighter in this universe. Not any longer, anyhow.
It would be my guess, knowing what we know now, that she's going to ditch it at the first planet she hits and change ships. So I do believe we'll get your ship back, Rayla.
Chen wants to suggest that obviously this mission was never what it seemed right from the start, and we should probably, as soon as we hit Belsavis and get everything fixed up, we should head back to Denon and start unraveling what the hell is going on.
Belsavis likely lacks facilities.
I'm sure they have.
Does it lack facilities, Star?
the
Can I
prison-
roll Galactic War?
I'm sure they have a garage, if nothing else.
Yeah. They don't have like extensive
They have
facilities,
a starport.
but they have like they have landing fields. They don't keep any ships on planet permanently.
What is
Like even
Sci-Far?
shuttles.
They have orbital facilities though, right?
Sci-Far. Cypher is kind of a nowhere planet. Well, I guess it's not a nowhere planet. Excuse me. It's a planet that was once important. Back during the days of the Galactic Republic. Not very prominent at all anymore. In terms of landing on Belsavis, like they don't even keep shuttles on the planet. It's part of a security measure. Once people are ferried down, the shuttles go back up to orbital space docks.
It's worth
So
like,
you can go to Belsavis to repair if you want. It would be the closest, like friendly facility that you know about.
We probably
the
should
other-
continue to Belsavis. If
They
we're
are
lucky,
technically expecting you.
They are expecting us, and despite us, we'll have to live up to what has been done. But if we're lucky, they may have detected the hyperspace jump if she decided to leave. Then they probably would have detected it upon entry at least as well. I can't imagine there's that it's a place that people jump to frequently.
Possible that she dropped from hyperspace and changed course, though, but likely continuation, of course.
You could have, but I'm not sure. Can you even? I don't know if that's even possible. I've never like researched like.
Well, we're about to
hyperspace.
try it.
What?
Like technically, the ship she was in is not the ship that started the hyperspace, and the drive wasn't even on. So I don't know how that works if she wants to drop out of hyperspace.
You can drop out of hyperspace as long as you have a hyperdrive, even if you were not the one that started it.
Yep. So she could have done that, but we could get.
I
get
looked
there.
this up. Somebody had a question about this before, just for a very different reason.
We should probably still continue on to Belsavis.
I guess I start plotting
I
a course.
agree.
All right. So this is going to be a pretty easy roll here. Let me bring up the.
Judging by our other easy rolls today, I don't think so.
Yeah, this is true. You're technically in the outer rim, and you're jumping to the outer rim. So outer rim to outer rim is a 0. Actually, it's a +1. Huh.
It's weird when you're in the same sector.
So, your data's not going to be any different because your destination's still the same. So I think your original DC was a 15. No, it was a 20, right? It was more than 1 week old. So 21. I'm probably I might adjust that a little bit considering you're partially on the way there. All right, roll your hazard die. It's a D8.
I'm probably assisting Rayla, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Rayla, roll your a 4. That is an additional +2 to the DC. So difficulty is going to be This is a hard call because it was more than 1 week. No, it was less than 1 week. That was it. So it was a 15 plus. So difficulty is only an 18 for this. So give me your use computers check to assist signal. That's a successful assist, so +5 to your check, Rayla. This is very hard to fail.
Oh, that's the wrong number, but it's still correct. 14. It should be.
How is it a wrong number?
Wrong plus.
I looked at my check and then added 5 to it and then typed that into the box, which is a
So 16, 17, 22. Yeah. 20,
So how did you mess
27
up?
should be.
I looked at my skill, which is an 8, added the 5 Foster said, and didn't think about it and typed that into the box it asked when it popped up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Should be 8 less.
All right, so that's
So 27.
27. Looking at the trim, I'm just going to say you're probably just going to get there when you thought you were going to get there. It's just going to be another 4 hours.
Course laid.
We will arrive
Well,
at
maybe-
Belsavis in 4 hours.
Look at that good roll. We could shave like 5 minutes off the trip. Come on.
Or I could look at the outer rim to outer rim chart, which says 48 hours. I would take what the GM gives you.
Yeah, 48 hours would be pretty bad. Yep, there we go.
All right, so you guys jump to hyperspace. And is there anything you guys do during your remaining 4 hours?
I repair
sounds like-
myself.
Okay. All right. Give me your mechanics check. So there was some people who were not so trusting of other people.
Ooh, that's only a 13. That is not successful.
Okay. All right. You didn't happen to roll. Oh, no, you rolled a 5. As long as it wasn't a 1. You didn't put your eye out.
Because there's a -5 for me doing it myself.
Yep.
And that takes 1 hour. So I could actually try it a couple more times, but
Is anybody doing this anything during the final leg of the trip?
I'm just going to be probably practicing for a completely different kind of fight. I mean, Crazy Criminal I was taking seriously, but now I'm thinking this is something else. And I definitely want to get her alive now, so...
I don't know. Rayla probably sit in her bunk and mope about her lost everything, having exactly 1 possession now.
Oh God, poor Rayla.
I'm doing
Yeah,
my
it
arming
was
up
not
montage.
fortunate that you were the only member of her species on there whom she could fit into a flight suit. It's very hard to have a tentacle-based Leku flight suit helmet.
I'm going to find some time to talk to Chen about some surfing.
Okay, so like maybe we're in like the last hour, and Chen, who occupies the CO's berth? Like, there's no way that doesn't go unused.
Well, I think I occupy it.
Okay, so like maybe it chimes and Bunko's like standing outside your room.
I think
I'm going to say, what do you want?
I like to talk about some medical problems.
If you have medical problems, report to the medical bay.
You know the kind.
oh man,
If
that's
you
gonna
have those
sound
kind
really.
of medical problems,
That's gonna
you should
sound really
report to your
awkward
bank.
over systems.
You guys don't have audio on your security.
Oh.
Do you invite Bunko in to talk, or do you guys just stand there in the doorway? This is ironically right outside Rayla's bunk.
Like I said, he said, I'm going to say if you have those kinds of medical problems, you should probably report to your bunk.
So apparently, Bunko, Chen will not talk to you.
All right.
I am watching this disaster happening. It's hilarious.
Is there any attempt at other contact during the literally the last 45 minutes of the trip? Like, by any means at all?
I'd probably go to Rayla's.
Okay, so Rayla, like, I think maybe Signal, you pass Bunko in the corridor. Bunko has to like kind of slide against the wall as you know, Signal
Track
takes
by.
up a lot of the corridor. He's got a big ass. And Rayla, once again, Signal chimes at your door.
I open it.
Miss Rayla,
Yes, Signal.
may I come in?
May as well.
Once the door is closed, I am sorry for your loss, Miss Rayla, but we will be able to recover, likely. It is not a common starship in this universe.
Maybe. An awful big galaxy.
We will find it. I just attempt to comfort Rayla.
Okay, so like maybe one of your panels on your side opens up and a little claptrap arm extends and you just like pat her robotically on the knee.
Yeah.
Okay. So
At some point, I'll attempt another mechanics check, but yeah.
okay. Go ahead and attempt that.
God fucking damn it! All right.
All right, so you guys are within like 2 minutes of arriving at your destination. What is everybody doing to get ready?
What command do I have to type to nuke my dice and get a new one?
Erase dice, rewrite code.
I'm gonna head up to the bridge.
Okay. All right. So Chen and Rayla and Signal, I'm assuming, are at least on the bridge. How about
I
everybody
only
else?
need a 7
What you need a 7 for?
To repair
to
himself.
fix myself.
Oh.
How about everybody else? Bunko and Roddick.
I'm in the lounge watching my soap opera.
I'm
Okay.
working out in what will eventually be my workout room right now. Getting
Well, I mean,
ready
like
for
you have the message that you will be arriving in system in like 2 minutes.
Oh, in that case, I'm probably doing the arm up montage, strapping all my weapons into my armor right now.
Yeah. Like the Iotron equivalent of Eye of the Tiger is playing over your speaker system, like in your helmet,
Totally
like
the
right
intro
next to
scene
you.
from Blood Dragon, pretty much. Just
Oh,
with, my
yeah.
armor.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, you do I have a hyperspace powering down sound? Probably don't.
Played it a minute ago. Well,
That was the dropping. Yeah, but
Yeah.
needs one that just goes zoop off, and you're there.
Yep. Definitely need that. So a moment later, the stars, or the blue swirling mass of hyperspace, turns into the flashing stars of hyperspace, and you emerge in the Belsavis system. Ooh, I actually have an image for this. Let me double check to make sure. Okay, good. You emerge around the fairly white planet of Belsavis. The drives kick out and the sublight drives kick in, and immediately you detect a fairly I guess it's not loose, but like it's a ring of defense stations that are not sloppy. It's the best they've been able to do, but they're pretty heavy duty. They don't like fully encapsulate the planet or anything. It's not a super heavily populated planet, but it's got a lot of defenses for such a small planet. You can tell that you are like immediately detected as soon as you get into the system. You can sense, or you're like your sensors ping that there are definitely like quite a few ships in the system, not like in a normal system, but like there's at least 4 or 5. You get a hail, like right immediately.
I will answer the hail.
Can I get a sensors roll from you, Signal?
Use computer, I think.
Yep.
Jesus.
You only realize it at the last minute. Those multiple signals, like last minute, not enough to do anything. Right as you're being hailed, those multiple signals are closing in on you, and they're already within weapons range as you're being locked on. You're about to like turn and let Chen know when the the hail opens up, and it from over the cockpit speakers. Far Ranger, stand down or be destroyed. We are aware of the situation aboard your vessel. You have been illegally detained from the sector rangers, and all crew, or not all crew, all escaped prisoners aboard are ordered to stand down and submit to our authority. Stand by and prepare to be boarded.
Question mark.
Well, I guess
boy.
I'm going to order Rayla to throttle down and prepare to be boarded.
Yeah, and like you see this kind of imperial-looking sort of I think I don't know what it's called. It's a Carrack. It's a Carrack cruiser. I can find an image.
You know if they have like how they might treat sector rangers? These people.
These guys are supposed to not be like part of the sector rangers, but they're supposed to be working with you.
Okay.
I find it
In that case, I'm
interesting
probably
that
gonna cooperate.
they seem to already know what happened, and there's no way they should.
Yeah, that's one of the ships that greets you. Notably, it has like a crew of 200. It's probably the primary defense ship in the system. And yeah, it kind of looms in, and I think like the ship shudders a little bit as a tractor beam locks in, and everyone's like, "Oh shit!" And they're like, "Again, all escaped convicts are to stand down and prepare to be boarded. You are going to be taken into custody of the sector rangers."
Question mark.
And I think we'll end it there.
Oh boy, yeah. That's not the way I expected things to go, but I guess we'll see soon.
So as
Get killed
promised,
by other sector rangers.
I have ended it right at 8 on the dot.
Appreciate
do some,
that. I will wrap up a couple quick things, and I'm going to head back over. I should be starting.
Well, we'll do experience before you leave, real quick.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I need to talk to Jace for 1 minute first, and then I'll be ready.
I think everybody's gonna get another 400 for this one. This was another good RP session, and you guys managed to get through the trip without blowing the ship up, and nobody got killed, and nobody killed a prisoner by accident or anything else.
Cool. Got it.
So wait, how much XP?
400.
Okay.
Definitely creeping up there. Can't wait to see what happens now, so I guess I'll find out. Okay, I will be back in a minute here. Give me 1 second. I need to talk to Jason in just a second. I'll get back to you in 1 minute. I'll be right back. 1 minute. Thanks again, man. I'll be right back.
Yep. Hope everybody had fun. I know that last bit was a surprise twist.